Defining Duke, an Xbox podcast, is brought to you by, well, you. If you want to learn how to support the show, go to patreon.com/laststandmedia. Salutations, everybody. It is Matty here today, and welcome to episode 43 of Defining Duke, an Xbox podcast. As always, I'm joined by the premier protein one himself, Lord Cognito.
Yo, we proteined up right now. We ready. We're going to hit the gym right after, you know what I mean? But I was trying to get my nutrition right and stuff, man. But how you doing? The Xbox hoodie looking very clean, sir.
I'm feeling good, Cog. Today, I was able to wash my left arm. This sounds odd, but I was stitched up for a while, right? So every time I got in the shower, I had to throw on a little plastic sleeve going out to my shoulder. So my left arm's been considerably more grimy compared to the rest of my body, right? And so today I looked at the scar. I was like, you know what? It's time. The stitches are out. We're good to go. Off it came. In the shower I went. It was a great shower. I had some little R&R yesterday, feeling nice and refreshed. Good. So we're feeling good today. Shout out to you for handling DDU this week. It was much needed. So I very much appreciate you for that. For those who are interested in listening, it's a Ask Cog episode. So a nice little Q&A. How'd that go?
It was fun, man. Shout out to the fam, Last Stand Media fam. Like they had some good questions, a couple of challenging ones. It was fun. Like I said, every once in a while I like to do the mailbag. My debut was a mailbag. And, of course, got to hold you down. Like, so I know this Matty plays. There's a lot of things, y'all. He's out here. He's got multiple shows. Plug that other joint. I like the retro joint. The retro, was it retro?
Yeah, retro rebound. Yeah.
That's, retro rebound.
Yeah, shout out to Lockmore. If you guys like the Lockmore edits, he handles retro rebound. But yeah, it's been a lot on my plate. I think now this year it's over with all the announcements and stuff between working on the game, retro rebound, 2 shows, technically 3 if you include DDU. I think I'm good on top of the main channel. I think I've got a full plate now where it's like, okay, let's organize this all, get it all rolling, and we'll be set in a couple of years. I'm feeling confident about it. Glad
to hold it down, and it was a lot of fun. So yeah, check that out. It's up right now. DDU Ask Cog episode. We get into it, man.
Hell yeah. Always a good listen. And for those of you who want to support us, as always, early access for this show goes live on patreon.com/laststandmedia on Thursdays. You can listen to us for free. We appreciate you being here. We've seen the show numbers go up a little bit, so thank you so much. And we expect a lot of turnout for this week as we have the big Halo campaign re-reveal to get into. Of course, more Xbox projects have leaked this week between Project Belfry and Project Shaolin, which we will talk about as well. And I know, Cog, you're feeling Shaolin. I was reading all about it. It's all you, man. All you.
All me.
So we got a lot to talk about. Before we begin, we want to hear from the audience. Let's start off with J.A. Zoo, who's targeting me. And I knew I painted a target on my back when I mentioned this game. So here we go. Hello, Dukes. Bit of a correction from last week. I know everyone is talking about Papa Master Chief this week, but I want to throw out a defense for my daddy, Mr. Hideo Kojima. Last week, Matty, you said Death Stranding didn't do too hot. But I want to point out that it sold well over 5 million copies on PS4 and PC, not counting the PS5 Director's Cut. That seems pretty good to me when you compare it to MGS5, the highest-selling MGS game, which had over 6 million. Love you guys, but need to toss out a correction for the slander on my man Kojima. Thanks for the content. Hope you guys have a good week. Yeah, this is on me. Honestly, this is actually really good because that game looked like it didn't cost much to make. So they made a pretty penny on that one there.
Yeah, even surprising that. Now that in your defense, even though, like I said, they're coming for us a little bit, surprising that, they didn't want to continue with him as far as the rumors and what we're going to talk about, but not saying that relationship is over, but it is interesting that it seems like, we're not doing anything with Sony right now moving forward kind of thing. That part's interesting.
I agree. It'll be, I wonder if they just thought like this was a good one-time thing for them to get the profits because it's like save Kojima. People are going to just support him in spades because of that. But also, it could just very well be a good game, and I just don't want to admit that. Who knows? I've never played it, so
No, trust me, I'm with you. I'm in the same boat. It didn't.
I'm
That
waiting
was
for
one of
Game Pass.
same thing. Like it literally came up in the Ask Cog Defining Dueces Ultimate episode. Like, you like walking simulators, but how come? And I was like, look, man, it looked like the UPS FedEx game, and I wasn't there yet. You know what I'm saying? But if it come to Game Pass, he come over.
Yeah, no, I mean, Phil teased it on his shelf months ago. We'll wait it out. We'll wait it out. No problem. All right. Next one is from Family Falls. What's up, Dukes? Long time, first time. Not really a question, more of a comment. Considering everyone is up in arms about the 2 terabyte expansion on Xbox, even though it's pretty much on par with the 2 terabyte price, or I'm sorry, PCIe for SSDs, can we just admit we were all wrong about the Xbox Series X and S? I know you all mentioned the quick resume and smart delivery. One thing I don't hear people talk about is that their salutation to the SSD is even better than we thought. As someone who has all 3 consoles, with the S being in the spare bedroom, I like to keep the current games that I'm playing on the expansion card. And when my wife or kids want to use the main TV, I just pop that card out, put it in my S, and continue my gaming. It's even great for travel, considering the S is significantly smaller. I just put an SSD in my PS5, and it's just a mess. Anyway, sorry for the long comment. I just feel I wanted to give say that Xbox put thought into every aspect of this generation. I want to give them their props. Thanks for the best Xbox podcast I have listened to. Thank you, family. Big praise there. But yeah, just want to shout this one out because I remember when they announced the price tag for the 2 terabyte expansion. I wasn't pissed, but I was just like, well, I was like, holy crap, that's a lot of money. Am I missing something here? And a lot of people wrote to me and kind of explained it all. But yeah, I wanted to shout them out for that because we're long past the memory card days, but not Xbox.
Not Xbox, yeah. And to their credit, being that I upgraded my PC, shout out to Ebontis, he was on me. He was like, yo, helping me build out my PC because I wanted to be more robust as a podcaster, content creator.
Of course.
And yeah, when you're doing the pricing, you see how much these NVMe drives are. They're not cheap. So they are actually going rate. But to the question, that portability, and especially with the S and just popping in, popping out. And yeah, I use it all the time, man. I take my S with me when we on the Last Stand Media event. Shout out to Mr. Matty Plays, helped me get past hotel TV security.
A little plug in the back.
Little plug in the back, you know what I'm saying? I had that, but I had my S, I had my memory card, and I had my little travel kit. And also for S users, I would highly advise there's a screen attachment for my good guy. Oh man, what these guys name? They basically, you know what I'm talking about. Yeah, it's like Upspec. I think they call it like Upspec. They have a Kickstarter right now, and pretty much it's a screen for the S. So that's going to be like on my long plane trips and stuff like that.
That one looks solid. I'm really looking forward to that. Hopefully that actually comes out.
No, it is. They sent me the notification that they're shipping, and they had their little attachments and stuff. So it's coming. So as soon as it comes through, I'll put it up on Twitter, and then we could talk about it or whatever. Yeah, right. I think it's going to be a good thing, a big thing.
Can't wait to see it. Last one is from Michael Lamaro. We want to help out new fans whenever we can. Hi, boys. I just bought my first Xbox console to supplement my PS5 and Switch, the Xbox Series S. If I were to play only 3 Halo games through Game Pass, which 3 should I play? What order should I play them in? Sorry if there's an obvious answer. I just do not have any experience with the franchise. Excited to check out Halo Infinite later on this year. Thanks, gentlemen. I thought this was interesting because I think it displays how scarred some people are from these numbered releases where you get like Red Dead Redemption 2, but it's the prequel. Just the way games are labeled nowadays. And so I understand this question. What would you pick if you were to select 3 Halo games?
It's a good one. I mean, I have my order in terms of like what I think are the better ones. But I'm a continuity person. You know what I mean? I do feel, you should start with like, Master Collector, Champ Collector's Edition, the first one. And I said Collector, CE Combat Evolved, excuse me.
Yeah.
The first one. And just to get a feel, because I like to see the evolution graphically and things of that nature. But yeah, I say go right in the first 3 because you can't eliminate 3. You know what I'm saying? Because obviously, shout out to our boy Chris Ray Gunn. You know what I'm saying? He had that on Last Stand Media event. One of his choices, which is now free. Shout out to Colin. He just put it up right now. The Last Stand Media event is now free up on the Last Stand Media channel.
Yeah, I can't believe I forgot to write that down.
Check that out, y'all. So the Chris Ray Gunn selection was Halo 3. So yeah, Halo 3 is one of the pinnacle, but the first 3 in order. I love 2. There was a controversial with 2 as far as the direction they went with the Orbiter and stuff like that, but it's still love. And 1 is just classic vibes. So that's what I got. But I'm curious with you, Because we're going to talk a gameplay, but I want to know where you stand with this. I'm very curious.
I would say, honestly, Michael, these games aren't too long. If you're looking to squeeze them all in before Infinite, you can do that. I just want to let you know, Michael. But if you can only play 3, you got other commitments or whatever, do 1 through 3, right? And I think the worst thing that happens here is maybe you got to look up a little summary of Halo 4 or 5, and most importantly, Halo Wars 2. Very important that you check out Wars 2. That we'll talk about later. But yeah, download Master Chief Collection. You'll have access, if you're a Game Pass subscriber, to 3 ODST, Reach. You'll have access to all 3 Halo games. You'll also have Halo 4. So you can take a look at all of these if you'd like. But I would strongly suggest 1 through 3. I'll talk about Halo 1 in just a little bit specifically, but these are just some of the best first-person shooter campaigns that you can play. So definitely just 1 through 3. It's that simple. If you want a little bit more on the lore, go into Reach. If you want a little bit more from 3's universe, if you will, ODST. There's a couple places you can float by, but 1 through 3, classic trilogy, you can learn why it's so popular.
Yes, agreed.
All right, well, let's talk about what we're playing, right? Here we go. So, Cog, shall I begin? Because we were just talking Halo.
Yes, please. So, let's get it.
Right, so I'm playing Master Chief Collection. I have made the commitment. We went back and forth on this business decision, and I've decided after seeing the campaign gameplay for Halo Infinite, it's time to play all of the Halo campaigns. So I'm doing it, right? I could have done this back in March when I was deciding between Halo and Gears, but now the hype is in me. I'm feeling it. It's like, I want this, so I'm going to do it.
Respect.
Started Halo 1 last night. We're on mission 8 now, 2 betrayals. Okay. So we're already deep, right? These are not long games. There's 10 missions in Halo 1 for those who don't know. I have remembered, I was bathing in nostalgia last night when I was playing this, right? Because here's the thing. I remembered that Halo 1 has the best 1, 2, 3 punch in first-person shooting campaigns, in my opinion.
Break it down.
Silent Cartographer, Assault on the Control Room, 343 Guilty Spark. A masterclass in execution of world building, fun shooting galleries, and surprise reveals. And now, since we know Michael's listening, I don't want to spoil it too much because he's new to it all, but all I'm going to say is that sequence of missions is incredible to me to this day. Now, Silent Cartographer holds a special place in my heart because I remember that was on the Xbox demo disc. I was in one of the magazines and I replayed that so much. You get to the part where the elite goes behind the door and I was, as a kid, what happens next? How do I get this guy? And you finally get behind the door and he's gone and he ambushes you at the end of the mission. But otherwise, that mission just holds a special place in my heart. That was on, I think, the greatest demo disc of all time, which had Dead or Alive 3. I think it had Fusion Frenzy on it.
Those are the OXM joints. Which ones was those?
Yeah, that was in the Xbox magazine. They came with the disc, and I think there was 7.
Those are the OG Duke Lord's days. That was his publication. He was there. Those are those days. He was over there, I believe, at OXM during those days. The demo discs. Continue,
speaking of which, I got ripped off. I tried to buy a Duke controller for $20. I saw it on eBay. I was like, this is so cheap, and it was the one you got right there, but it was black, right? It was the OG. It was the Hyperkin one. I was like, I'm gonna go for it. This guy had no sales, no purchases.
No, Matty, you got cut.
Yeah, no. I was like, all right, I'm going for it. It's $20. I was like, if this guy ships it to me, we are in business because it's 90 everywhere else. So I was like, let me see. This guy, I messaged him like, hey, you shipping it out yet? Nothing. So I got scammed.
Damn, Matty.
This guy who puts up a scam Hyperkin controller was my thought process. I was like, really, dude? You want $20 that bad? That you're gonna put up a fake listing for that? So he got me. I mean, it was an official picture.
Hustling.
Yeah, he was hustling. So anyway, been playing Master Chief Collection. That's been great. I also said last week on Defining Duke that I had 2 other games I was playing that I couldn't talk about. Now I can. One is Guardians of the Galaxy. The other is Age of Empires 4. Both full reviews up on my channel, which is one of the reasons why I was not on DDU this week because I was grinding. Real
quick, because I'm working on trying to get Empire's Code, but Guardians of the Galaxy, I'm hearing extremely positive things.
Yeah.
Now I know I'm gonna go to the channel still, but just give me a little bit. Like, is it as advertised? Like, yo, are you feeling this thing like everybody else is?
It depends on a couple of things. Like we'll talk about it in a little bit. Like we have some Deus Ex fans out there. If you're expecting Marvel's Deus Ex, you're not getting that.
Okay.
If you're expecting the dialogue that they presented to kind of have these telltale levels of like branching consequences, you're
Mhm.
going to get just permutations of the same sequence we're all experiencing.
Okay.
And that's okay, but it is a little underwhelming as a system. It needs to
Okay.
be built upon more, I think, if it's going to exist. So the dialogue is just kind of there for you to participate in the banter.
Mhm.
But otherwise, it's a really solid romp. And I think it's going to be a good test to see if Spider-Man was just this really good one-off where, it's a popular hero, it's a PlayStation exclusive, like those two combined.
Right.
You see millions of sales. Or if like a good single player, like there's no side quests, no BS, just a single player story in the Marvel universe that's a solid game. If that can sell a lot, especially Guardians of the Galaxy, they're kind of new in the scheme of things when you look at popular
Oh yeah.
Marvel IP, right? Like
Oh yeah.
they're definitely been around for a long while, but like in the
Mhm.
terms of relevance, it was kind of the early 2010s that they
Yes.
had come about. So yeah, as someone who really didn't care for Guardians of the Galaxy, like the
Mhm.
movies, I
Yeah.
fell asleep during them. I told this
Oh
story in my
damn,
review. Yeah,
Matty.
yeah, yeah. No disrespect, just it was actually one of my first
Way
dates with Layla. Yeah,
disrespect.
yeah, it was one of my first dates with Layla. I completely passed out during it. She's like, I like this movie. I was like, yeah.
Oh my god.
Yeah. So yeah, I passed out during it, and since then I was just like, I don't know if these movies are that great in my opinion.
Oh
I
man.
understand why people like them, but they weren't working for me.
I feel you.
But the games made me like the
Okay.
characters a lot. One of the
Okay.
things that this game does really well is it makes the cast very endearing. It's presented in a very Hollywood manner, and that could sound like a bad thing, but think of, how you see in these Marvel movies, like you hear the licensed soundtrack play. It's all like happy-go-lucky, having a good time, get a couple of chuckles
Yeah.
in,
Yeah.
and then afterwards they sink into a more serious
Serious
topic.
tone. Yeah.
Yeah, it has that type of flow to it.
Okay.
And it's really hard to define what that is, but once you start playing it, you see how they present cutscenes, like the cinematography for it. You get a feeling like they were studying
They're
movies
studying.
while they were
Okay.
making this.
Okay.
It's got almost an Uncharted feel, if you will, to it.
Ooh.
But yeah, the characters are the star here. I don't know if the actual journey the characters go on is that interesting, in my opinion. I
Mhm.
thought it was all right, but the characters here are really good, beyond even the Guardians, which I thought was a welcome surprise as well.
Absolutely.
Combat is a fun time. Enemies are a
Nice.
little too spongy. Even when I tweaked the damage and made it go really high, still
Yeah.
thought enemies were too spongy. That was a complaint in my preview. It still holds true.
Gotcha.
But the combat has a great flow when things are clicking
Mhm.
together and you're doing just the right amount of damage. It feels
Mm.
really, really good.
Nice.
One of the most co-op single player games ever, calling in the Guardians to do all different things. It was
Nice.
awesome. But otherwise, yeah, I liked it. I thought it was good, but
Okay.
I gave it a small wait for a sale. I said around like $45-$50 because there was
Okay.
enough kinks in it where technically, by the way, I had some bad frame rate issues in the second half of the game,
Mhm.
but also there was just, I think, too many bumps in the road
Okay.
where it was like an up and down, where there were points in the campaign where I was going, what are we even doing here? And it could start to feel a little stretched out, especially when the combat got too spongy,
Mhm.
where it's not a skip at all. Like, I think people should play it. It's a good game, but I don't know if you should rush out and spend $60 on it. So
Gotcha.
really dug that one. Age of Empires 4.
Let's go. Let's go.
This is from World's Edge and Relic
Yeah.
Entertainment. World's Edge, Xbox first party studio.
Yes, sir.
The good times roll on for Xbox's first party. Again, another
Streak
really good
continues?
one. Yeah, streak continues in my opinion. I thought this
They
was a
got
really good
games?
one. Yeah, they
'Cause you
got
know,
games.
I heard the street.
Yeah.
The internet told me they don't got games.
Yeah, they got games, man. They've been doing well, right? And this is another one. It's an RTS for those who don't know. It's the famous, or rather infamous, Trebuchet documentary series. And so we
Did you
got
see
that.
I hate to cut you.
No,
Did you
please.
see the promo for Xbox? They doing so. I think they're doing something today while we're recording with the Mountain from Game of Thrones, and it has
What?
trebuchets. But Xbox is doing something. If you go to the Xbox YouTube channel, I saw a premiere. I guess they're doing some promo for it.
Wow.
Yeah, because it's like Xbox, and I was like, what is the Mountain doing? They have a thumbnail with the Mountain with a trebuchet behind him.
Mhm.
So I was like, okay, they really get
Mhm.
behind this trebuchet. I had to cut you because I just want to
No,
tell you.
I think it's a thing that they're kind of latching onto quietly
Yeah.
and recognizing maybe that wasn't the best way to market the game, and it shouldn't be its calling card, if you will. Like, hey, remember that game that showed up a trebuchet as a point of interest for people
Mhm.
getting into the game? But Dirty Flint had wrote into us saying, hello, Matty and Cog. Is Microsoft doing enough to advertise Age of Empires 4? It comes out very soon, and based on current reviews, it seems to continue the Microsoft development / publishing streak, yet we don't see anything about it. Hope you have discover a slow leak in your tire type of week. Thank you, Dirty Flint. We'll talk about that in a moment, but Age of Empires 4 is a solid RTS. As someone who's never played Age of Empires before, I thought it was a really good starting point. The HUD is digestible. That's the most important thing I can tell the audience is, these games can hit you with a lot of information and can really overload you. Yeah, this game doesn't really do that. I think the way they pace out how you learn the mechanics and how they show you them, and how you read the screen, like the numbers, where they are, when you have pop-ups. There's no moment I was going, huh? I feel like everything, again, is legible, which is huge in these types of games, because I felt like I understood what was happening. Really, what would occur if I started to lose a battle was it was on me. I just didn't act quick enough. And that's what happens to all these RTS games. You just kind of learn the rhythm. And each army has or rather empire has their own little quirks. For example, in the Moscow army, you can build hunting cabins and you can generate gold with them if you put them out in the middle of the woods next to animals and stuff, because I guess they're hunting them down and trading their pelts for gold. And you can use that gold to create new units that are more expensive, or you can use them to trade with other nearby villages. And so there's like an element of civilization there that I honestly like more in the RTS combat itself, just because I'm a big Civ fan.
Yeah.
But it's a really good game overall. As for its advertising, I understand why they're not really pumping the gas on this one, because it is an RTS. I don't know if it's going to be the biggest thing there. It's another kind of diverse addition to the library for Xbox, but it's a very good one. And again, day one Game Pass. So if anyone's curious about it, it's out now. Go ahead, download it, try it out.
PC
Game Pass.
And I think that we'll talk about the other questions later, but I think that plays into a factor with the marketing. And they're probably doing a Gears Tactics thing where I feel they're probably gonna take their time with the console conversion. It has to come over. This game's too big.
I think so, yeah. And I think when you look at them getting Flight Simulator onto Xbox, I think that's sort of their statement, like, we're going to bring things that are PC only to Xbox eventually. It's just a matter of when, not if. So I hope it does come to consoles. Is this one that I feel like you need to rush out and play? I mean, it depends. Like for me, I'm kind of hooked to it. I honestly was glued to it, where when I was playing it in Discord with my friends, they would be trying to talk to me and I just wasn't replying because I was like all in on it. So that's what I've been playing. Sorry for dragging that one on. Just a lot of new releases.
You had all the hot days. I was waiting. I was like, he got the fly stuff.
Now I want to dish it to you because you're playing a game that I've long put off, right? Bro. And I gotta hear,
bro. We gotta talk.
What's the word on Disco Elysium?
All right. Before I even get to that, the plan was, I'm team turn based, so it was Phoenix Point. Doing that. Shout out to lordsofgaming.net. We got some great tips for you right now. Addict and my boy Mahmoud got some great tips. If you're new to Phoenix Point, please check that out. How to get started, right? I was doing my Back for Blood romp, but on hard difficulty with the homies, right? But then the homies got mad at me, Matty. Same how you see how you stopped answering messages and you was playing a certain game. So I said one night, I was like, oh, okay. Let me give you the real quick recap with Disco. Right? So Disco Elysium. I saw it on PS5, right?
Right.
And at the time, I'm like, oh, okay, so it's on PS5. It's probably going to be on Xbox. I want to stay in my ecosystem with achievements. I'll probably play it on Xbox.
You're a better man than me for that. Okay.
You're right. I heard great things. Actually, I had the opportunity to meet with the devs. I'm kicking myself that I didn't meet with the devs. This was like way back when they were announcing it at a show or something. It was like the last PAX, maybe PAX 2020. Anyway, so I'm like, all right, cool. And then I'm like, all right, it's not on Xbox. It's not on Switch. So PS5 got this exclusive, right? And at the time, a bunch of other games going on. I said, okay, I'm going to wait. My goal was Game Pass gonna get this. You know what I'm saying? In my mind, I'm like, Game Pass gonna get. So then I follow the account, Disco Elysium to Switch. I'm like, all right, where's the Xbox version? I was like, oh, it's definitely Game Pass now. So then they're like, oh no, it's coming, but it ain't no Game Pass. So at this point, I'm like, all right, I waited. Just buy the game. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's on. Just buy the game. Buy the game. Yeah. So I bought the game. So this is where it started for me. So I'm like, I'm going to play this. Get like 15, 20 minutes. Get back to what else I'm doing with Phoenix Point and Back for Blood. Matty, it got me, bro.
Nice.
This game is amazing. Let me tell you what it is. Let's get the kinks out. The controller's a little weird because it's one of those things where anything you can interface with, they'll let you know by a highlight, or if you move your controller around, and then you press A to actually go up to it and inspect it. So it's not, you can move around the map freely, but it's one of those things where they really want you to interact with things, right? Art style is a very unique art style. It's
look almost
like
watercolored when I
look at watercolor, very like it's a cartoonish, but it also has a darkness to it. It's a weird thing because it's brightly watercolored, but it's a very rundown industrial kind of a deal.
It's almost like an oil painting, if I remember.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Now the thing about it is your main character, without spoiling too much, is the worst detective I've ever seen in the history of detective. Matty,
I love
this
that.
man is the worst. Like, you start off almost butt naked and drunk from a romp of drinking and drugs. Like, this is like the 70s. It's literally the disco era. You wake up and I'm like, yo, what is going on? Now, this is where the game goes to the next level. From what I understand, shout out to Ty Guy Travis, last word, IGN. He told me the original, because this is the final cut. The one that's out right now is final cut. The original was all written. This is everything's voice acted.
Yeah.
Matty, this is the best voice acting I've ever heard in a video game.
Wow.
In my opinion, everything. And the thing, every NPC, every person, you've got your little if you're like the Sherlock Holmes, if you're the worst Sherlock Holmes, you got like a very good Watson. He'd be like, sir, what are we doing here? Like, based on our analysis, I don't know. So this is the ultimate detective game, right? And you're trying to figure out what's going on while you yourself don't even know what's going on with you. And then here's the thing where it gets deep. They've got you have like, okay, so this is hardcore RPG, Matty. You got all these skill sets.
Speaking my language.
This is you. Everything is like, you got your personality, strength, your motorics, but they got different subcategories of each thing. Intellect, psychology, the way you handle, the way you perceive things, they got a stat to how you visualize murder scenes. Bro, you can min-max and do all your stuff, right?
Okay.
Now, the thing about it is each one of these 20-something about personalities and skills has their own voice-acted personality. So it's like your conscious speaking to you. Let me give you an example. You have this one called electrochemistry. Remember, you yourself are low-key like an addict, right? Yeah. So you go on a crime scene. So you looking over the crime scene, your partner's talking to you, whatever. And then they'd be like, oh, you see like 4 beer bottles or whatever. They'd be like, we see that beer bottle. Your conscious is talking.
And this is like unique to the build.
Yes.
I like that.
And they're like, no one's going to see if you take that for later. You know how we do with this alcohol.
Okay.
This game is crazy. You know what I'm saying? So you got all that going on. That. It's really, like I said, it's fully, now here's the only negative. If you're a guy that likes combat, this is not the combat game so far that I've experienced, because I've been able to Outer Worlds it and have my skills and other things to avoid contact and the way I conversate. But thoroughly addicted, so much fun. And it's the mystery, what is going on, and skill checks. And then you have to come back. You can use items. And like I said, you're literally a broke, down on his luck detective in a situation trying to figure things out. It's excellent. It's excellent. I'm addicted. I've stopped everything I'm doing, and I've been playing Disco Elysium.
I want to play it on Switch because I know there's a lot of reading and stuff, and I was thinking I always was holding out for the Switch version. And now it's here. I think this December is what I'm looking at.
The only thing I'm worried about, find out for me if you get it on the Switch, is there is a ton of text. Even though it's voice acted, there's a ton of text that lets you go back in conversation, because everything, you got to pay attention to clues, what people say, and you have to pick the right decisions, right? And I just want to see how the text works on that screen. Right. Just let me know how that goes. But yeah, Disco Elysium, this thing's amazing, man. Please get on that.
Absolutely. I'm excited. I've heard only good things about it, but hearing, I didn't know that little detail there about how you got almost a consciousness that's speaking to you, if you will, through your skill set.
Yes.
That's unique. That's really
unique. Very good. And the guy that does that conscious, definitely, I don't feel I'm wrong saying, I feel like it's an African-American brother, and he's so good. Just when he does those skills things, and then you have your own personal thing. And I love the guy who's your partner, who's helping you out on the case.
Yeah.
He's very straight-laced, and he's excellent. It's so good. There's so many characters. It's so good, man. Really good. Check it out.
I can't wait to hear more about it, like once you finish it and everything.
Yeah, definitely. I'm like maybe 15, 20 hours in.
You've been okay. You've gotten
blazing.
You've gotten to work.
Blazing.
Love that.
Everything stops. Disco blazing right now.
I love that. All right, let's get into our warm-up questions because we have a pretty loaded news week. Nielsen Chapman's our first one. What's up, fellas? With Xbox having its share of RPGs, shooters, and other big budget titles, I hope we see Fusion Frenzy return. Nintendo is constantly releasing Mario Party games, and Fall Guys was a huge success, so there is a market for this style of game. Is there a chance we see the great mini games return, or is it wishful thinking on my part? Anyway, have a great day. I had to bring this one in here, right? This was a little bit of personal bias, but I had to because I saw that they were doing another Mario Party game, and I was thinking to myself, why is Xbox just sitting on Fusion Frenzy, man? Like, now is the time, right? With online gaming, Twitch streaming, co-op, all being so big. Bring back the party game that is definitive to your platform. Fusion Frenzy, the first one, at least. I haven't played the second one, I'll be honest. But the first one, I will stand by. I think that's better than any Mario Party game I've ever played. I'm sorry. It's just the personality of that game. The mini games are so fun. Like, I stand by it. Fusion Frenzy is the best party game. Try it out. It's on Game Pass. Try it out. It's a really good time. Even single player. That's the thing. Even single player. It's really, really fun. Give it a look.
Fusion Frenzy. Check it out. Here's the thing. Completely agree. I gotta speak to an OG though. And we're talking about party games. We're talking about, and what's pissing me off is Xbox was doing something in its time what was iconic in this space. And I'm talking about, all my OGs know, 1 versus 100, bro. Have you ever played that, Matty?
No.
Oh, Matty don't know about the 1 versus 100,
no,
bro.
What is this?
What? Yo, let me tell you. This was an experiment in early 360 days, the birth of online, right? It was literally it was like literally 100 your avatars in this room is an online thing, and there was like a qualifier, and it was like think like Jeopardy questions, and basically it was done all online, and everybody would be able to qualify to get in. Then when you get on the show, and basically they would have these trivia questions, and you'd have to answer, and it's like a knockout round. So it's literally 100 people in the room,
right?
Real people, and it was a game show host that was a host. Like, let's say they paid the equivalent of a person to be like an Alex Trebek, and he's like, "All right, guys, and it was a scheduled show,
and you would show up with your avatars.
You'd show up with your avatar every week on Xbox Live, bro. It was the greatest thing they've ever done. They've never brought it back. I don't know what happened to it, why it went away. It went on for a long time. And you tune in every week because you want to get on the show.
All right, hear me out. Imagine if they did that, but they tied it to the Microsoft Rewards program.
Oh, there you go. Thinking great again.
Wow, like, dude, that sells itself.
Bro.
That sells itself.
Ask the OG Duke himself, Ryan McCaffrey. He knows about this, man. 1 versus 100 was a movement, and you could win real prizes, which they could definitely tie to reward points. It was trivia. It was like a knockout round. The survivors left, and as you got down to that, who was that 100? Bro, and it was a time you had to quickly think of your answers. And they got progressively harder with the trivia. It was so good.
Wasn't there a game that people got on their phones where it would be like a live game show every Tuesday, I want to say it was, and people would sign up, and the deeper you got, you'd win money at the end, and everyone gradually fell off. I don't know what it's called. Someone in the audience can remind me, but it was a phenomenon for a while. It was this app that people would sign on to. What was it called? It sounds like the same thing, except there's actual money.
Yeah, it might be 1 versus 100. I don't know if there was an app equivalent at the time, but it was definitely.
This was recent. That's the thing.
You talking about something recent? Oh, yeah,
recent. Yeah, I can't remember what it was, but man, I remember like my buddies would just stop playing games and be like, "Yo, it's time for whatever," and they'd like sign on to it and try to win, and they'd be like, "Yeah, I got this deep this time." Yeah, it was a big thing. I don't think it's active anymore, but it was a huge deal for a while. It reminds me of that.
Yeah, they got to bring it back. They're sitting on a gold mine. They created the space. They need to bring it back.
Number 2 goes to Alex Kilgore. Hey, Duke boys. So we all saw the Halo Infinite campaign reveal trailer. It looks amazing, and even with some of my gripes, see Chris Ray Gunn's Twitter on Halo. I am excited for it to come out. I like and dislike the new direction of an open world Halo, but it got me thinking, what original Xbox IP would you like to see get the open world treatment that Halo has gotten? For me, I think Ninja Gaiden would be a great option to get an open world upgrade. It could be the Xbox version of Ghost of Tsushima, but more difficult. Man, that's one way to sell us. I
Yeah,
hope you
exactly.
guys have a wiping your behind without a bidet kind of day. That's all you,
Oh,
bro. That's
it's
all
all
you, bro.
him. It's all him, man.
No, that's all you. I'm saying. That's all you. That's all
Oh
you.
damn!
Yeah.
Oh damn! I see what you're doing. I see what you're doing. You're trying to promote your product.
Yeah. I was like, this is a good fit. Yeah.
No doubt, no doubt. Shout out to Alex, man. I think he stole it. Yeah, Ninja Gated. I mean, that's a big deal for Xbox to have an exclusive during the OG days. And oh yeah, I would love a Ninja Gaiden in the open, world kind of thing, just to check it out. But yeah, I mean, we'll talk about the Halo campaign later. But yeah, I mean, he pretty much stole as the Ninja guy. Like,
Yeah, I was gonna
can't
say.
get
I
much better
figured
than
that'd be
that.
your answer.
Yeah, I cannot get much better than that. That's amazing. What about you?
I was thinking again. I know I've been crusading for this for a while, but I was thinking when I saw this, and hear me out. I was
Let's
thinking
go.
Banjo to some extent. Now, maybe
Okay.
this is an original Xbox IP, but I was thinking Banjo because I look at Mario Odyssey, and it's this open level collectathon. And it's interesting because it was so popular, did so well. Number one, Nintendo has yet to do a sequel for it. But also, no one's really followed in their footsteps in its entirety, right? You see Balan Wonderworld or whatever the hell it's called,
Yeah.
which, but, beyond that, we haven't really seen much. And
Yeah.
I think like Xbox, again, is just leaving this IP dormant that they need to get on, whether it be a remake, something along those lines. And I think Banjo just fits too many molds for these types of things. Because again, Halo wouldn't be my pick. I think I wouldn't pick Blinks the Time Sweeper. As much as I would love to, I don't know if that would be my selection, right? But again, I know Banjo doesn't technically fit that mold, but I just think it's one that they could wedge into an open world style treatment, like we're seeing with Halo, where it's like it's kind of open, but it's not like full open world, akin to like Horizon Zero Dawn, where I feel like they could wedge that IP in there and do something along those lines without feeling too forced.
Yeah. No, I feel you, man. I totally agree. No problems with it.
All right. Let's move on to number 3, Full Metal McCoy. I said we talk a little bit more about Guardians. Hi, Dukeman. Give it to me straight now that Guardians of the Galaxy is out. If I buy this bullshit, will they make Deus Ex 3? Thanks, and I have a rolled my ankle yesterday and can't walk today kind of week.
Ooh, those hurt.
Been there.
Those hurt.
Been there.
Yeah, I defer to you, brother. I mean, like I said, you were laying it down. As far as I'm concerned, listen, if a game's good or decent, I'm going to support. But yeah, I mean, Guardians. Unlike Matty, I watched the movie and didn't fall asleep. And look, man, this is a good argument when shout out to my boy Kai Batsu. He listens to Defining Duke more than ILP, putting you on blast. But he's a huge Guardians fan. And one thing about Guardians, the reason why people like it, including Maddie's girl, is that it's basically a ragtag. You don't know name. See, I know them because I'm cosmic. I'm a surfer dude.
Yeah.
They're in the cosmic universe. So I know all of them. You know what I'm saying? But what it is the reason why that movie is great and people will love it is because they got you to care about characters you do nothing about. You know what I'm saying? And that's what it is. So for me, the way Maddie you described it, it seems like it's following the tropes of the movie. You know what I'm saying? Everything you talk about, the cool little music, fun tones, ha, and then it gets serious and then we got to get busy and stuff like that. So I'm willing to try it. Plus, yeah, like if we support it, it does well. And like I said, for the most part, the reviews are solid. Some are saying even great. Then, yeah, maybe we can get that, Deus Ex 3, because that's our boys, right? Those are idols, right?
Yeah, that's them. And I am of the mindset that no matter how this one goes, they will make a sequel. Not even because, by the way, just to make clear, I don't think they really sequel bait at the end at all. That's one of the things I liked about the game. They wrap it up nice and tight, feels good. It's like, okay, it's done. And there's room for more. But if it were to end there completely, they did what they set out to do, which is, I think, always a sign of a good story, that they had something they wanted to tell. I just think, though, that they would love to do another Deus Ex game, but it's like, got to look at it realistically. Now they're doing 4-day work weeks. It's like they got to make that time when they're in the office count, right? They got to be working on stuff that they know is going to work. And I think knowing you're going to work on Marvel IP makes the choice to go to 4-day work weeks a little easier. because again, there's going to be money rolling into that studio. I just don't know how else to put it other than that. Not that they're not doing it for the well-being of their staff, but I think there are business decisions that are sitting behind that. And I think if they're going to work on Deus Ex again, not that Deus Ex isn't popular, but I just think if they know, hey, we're going to keep working with Marvel, we're going to keep doing stuff with this, maybe they do an expansion DLC, who knows? They can safely make that decision for their staff. Whereas if they were going to their more obscure stealth RPG franchise, I don't know. I don't know if you'll get Deus Ex by buying this, quite frankly.
Got you. I see what you're saying. You don't think there's a correlation per se?
No, I think what I was trying to say, and maybe I was failing to do so, is with their commitment to 4-day work weeks, I think it's because they have Marvel and money, and they feel comfortable doing so. Where if they were going to move to Deus Ex after this, I don't know. Again, just speculation on my behalf. But I don't think they directly tie together unless they have multiple studios and they're working on a ton of projects. But I think they're going to stick with Guardians because it seems to have worked out. They seem to care about it. They did a good job with it. And I think there's a lot of room to grow. There was some pains with this entry that I think can easily be remedied in a sequel for sure.
Okay. Fair enough.
All right. Number 4 goes to, wait, that's actually strange. This is the first time this has ever happened to me.
What's up?
Alex Kilgore got me, man.
He got 2.
He stuck to it. He got 2.
Ah!
This will be the only time this happens because there's no going back. Never do this again, Alex. Never do this again. I'm laying the foot down.
We got to put it down. Alex tried to slip past the defenses.
And he did, bro. He got onto the field. He
ran up to the field. Yeah. He's streaking. He's streaking, right?
All right. Alex, congratulations. You're here twice. Well, she's in like the final 5 questions. I'm going to check after I read this. I got to make sure I didn't fuck up that bad.
You good. Shout out to Alex, though, hustling.
All right, Alex. Here you go. Hey, Dukes. So I have a question that could be a potential warm-up question. Yeah, you see the way he wrote it. He's acting like, this wasn't the second time he wrote something. That's hilarious. If the LSM family played in the Squid Games, who would win? You can choose or include extended family in ILP, last word, snark tape, hand radio, etc. Hope you have an umbrella honeycomb piece kind of day.
Ooh, Squid Games. It's a lot of competition. You got Last Stand Media fam. You know what I'm saying? A lot of big brains on that squad. You know what I'm saying? Then I got my IOP fam. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, then we got, you know what I'm saying? You got ham radio out here.
Yeah.
I can't sleep on my last word boys too, though. It's hard, man, because you got the offense, the defense. You need to think. What you thinking?
I think Dustin is an underrated pick for a winner, and the reason I say that is I feel like Dustin is devious.
Yes,
underneath it all, I think he's got something to hide, right? Yeah.
Shadow Broke. He don't let all that adorable boy face stuff fool you. He get busy. He get busy.
He's on the one, and I feel like he'd be the guy. It's like me and him, last dude standing. He's like, yeah, bro, I got you. Here's what we're gonna do to win. We're like one stride away from winning. Off I go, just shoves me down. I'm dead. He wins because he just wanted to win by himself. I could see Dustin pulling some action like that.
I want to give 2 shout outs. I want to give ILP shout outs. Solve is extremely deep. Don't let again. It's the quiet, nice ones. Those be the ones that you gotta watch. Like I put him in that bag. Attic is just straight up. We got an emoji for him called Attic's World. It's all about him. He don't care about nobody else. Yeah. So I already know he naturally is gonna fit. And then I just want to get some honorable mentions. He's too nice. I love Ebontis. He's just too nice. I think he ain't gonna survive. I love E. I love you, but you just such a nice guy that I don't know if this world is built for you. And but Travis, shout out to Ty Guy Travis. Yeah. Travis would fit well there. And then look, we got us. We got to talk about us within what you call Last Stand Media and stuff like that. But yeah, this is tough because it's different personality. What about him?
I was gonna say my co-host Kobe Paul Lombardo.
Let's go.
Short guy, skinny, anxious dude. I don't know if Paul's making it deep. He's a smart guy, smart as shit. But
same thing with Ebontis.
But
I don't know if he goes.
Because he has the physicality to get through the Squid Games. I think Paul's an early death. I think he's an early death in Squid Games.
I love you. I think you're early death too. He has the physicality. He does, but again, I don't know if he's willing to do those really devious, dark. Like, he is too nice. So that's what I would go with it. But King, I ain't worried about.
Yeah.
King, I'll ride or die. We gonna do whatever he gotta do.
Yeah.
So I ain't worried about it. So it is. What about Matty? Matty down.
I don't know, man. I feel like I'm a good guy. I'm not going to betray you.
Yeah, see, you gonna die.
No, I'm dead. I'm dead. Yeah, right there. Yeah.
See, I'm a good guy, but people don't understand. Like, I have y'all getting the advanced evolved version of Cog, right?
Yeah.
Y'all get the older Cog, very sage, very calm. Wild Cog with the temper, and I can flip. People know, like, when people betray or whatever, I can flip, but. Yes, I would be a nice guy, but sometimes you gotta do what you gotta do.
So you're ruthless in here, right?
I got if these are the stakes, you gotta adapt to the environment.
Okay,
baby. Like,
okay, I respect it.
You know what I'm saying?
I have a competitive edge to me that I don't think a lot of people know about, but I don't know if it's a game of survival. How does it translate?
Yeah.
How does it translate? I think Colin's an early death. No, I think Colin's dead. I don't know.
Oh, you think he's dead?
Yeah, I think Colin's dead. I think this is a sneaky death. I think I think he goes down. Like, I think he gets confident and then he goes down. He's like,
I think Ben goes down. Ben is out.
Yeah, he doesn't got a boat in the Squid Game.
Yeah, he don't see it. Listen, what? Colin, listen. If Colin is petty enough to remember what you said 5 years ago, Colin is killing you. No, we're not going to do this to Cobra. I call him Cobra Commander for a reason. Like, that man remembers.
Like, I think of, like, without spoiling, I think of, like, episode 1 of Squid Games, right? Like, or is it 2? Like, they're, red light, green light. And, like, I'm thinking Colin can't stop on a dime. He's on the elliptical, right? He talks about grinding the elliptical. Those legs aren't getting the motion like a jogger, right? Like, he's not stopping on a dime in that sand. Like,
and that's
stagger it a little bit and boom. That's it. That's it. That's how I look at it, right?
That's how you look at it. I think the reason why I can't go again, I think the way his mind works, and when one thing about Colin I respect, when the stakes are at its highest,
Colin rises.
He performs the best. That's why I can't go against Colin just yet. But I understand your point in that episode. Yeah, he would have looked shaky in that particular part right there. You're right there.
I've only seen 3 episodes. Well, I'm like in this very small bubble of
We didn't talk about
Ray
Gun.
I feel like Chris gets to the top and kills me.
Yeah.
I feel like he backstabs me for sure.
Yeah, for sure. I can see it.
Yeah.
I can see it. He be the one I'm watching. Like,
exactly. Like, he goes to pat me on the back and like I'm just like, what are you doing, bro?
Oh, sorry, Baba Micah. I just can't.
No, you don't think?
I don't think she got a shout out to her.
Her smile's too big and bright where I feel like she betrays. I feel like
really. Oh, but you know what? Maybe I'm sleeping. Maybe okay.
I feel like she's like, hi. Yeah. Got me. Just like that. Yeah.
This is a good one. It's a good one. I like this question.
Absolutely. Did we forget anyone?
We forgot. We got everybody from Last Stand. I got all my last word. You got your co-host.
Yeah.
I got Attic. I got everybody. I got some.
All right. Yep. Excellently done. We'll be interested to find out what the audience thinks of our picks.
Yes.
All right, Daddy T. Last question before we get into the news. Hi, Dukes. My question is this, a simple one. Have you two ever dropped a defining Duke in your lives? By this, I mean, have either of you dropped a shit so good that it was a defining moment in your life? Have a forked piss kind of day. Love y'all.
Wow. I know about that. That's crazy. Wow. Daddy T, he out of control today. Yeah. He's loose. He is so loose right now. The defining deuce.
Yeah, right.
Listen. Yeah, you jumped off.
No, you go for it. You looked like you were ready to get into it.
I was ready. You know what it is? You have those moments in life. To me, the worst feeling in life is when you're not home and it's about to go down.
Yeah.
You ever had a helpless feeling? Yeah. And I'm a very, you know that feeling where you either you driving or you fall away. Yeah. And I'm when it comes to handling the deuce, right?
Yeah,
the defining deuce.
Yeah.
They're like, I'm very particular. I don't like to go to just any old bathroom. I try to scout out the area or scout out the restroom.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I've had that moment where you're like, yo, it's going down.
Yeah.
I don't care. Like, I'm so out of control, Matty. I don't even like going to public joints where the dude is right next to you, got the feet on the bike. You're like,
really?
oh, like I'm that ridiculous.
Okay.
I don't want to blow it up. Like I got this thing where I don't like to blow it up next to somebody. I feel guilty that I blew it up next to you. I'm just bad. I know it's stupid, but you get to that moment of panic, right?
Right.
And it's like, yo, I don't care.
Time to survive.
It's time to survive. Otherwise, we ain't gonna make it.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? These underwear ain't gonna make it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So yeah, I've had that situation. The funniest one was I never thought I'd do this in my life, bro. Like I was out. I was like, a friend of mine took me to he played rugby, right? So this is open field. So I'm watching them, and then my stomach was like, yow.
Yeah.
I said, oh no, there's no public, nothing around. I'm searching, I'm scouring, and in the seedy, messed up little outhouse porta potty joint, it looks seedy, bro. I looked, I was like, Cog, you got to do it, man. You got to do it. This is now or never.
Yeah.
And I went in there. God bless anybody who came in there after there. I tore that joint up something off.
You can't change, man.
Bro, yo, it was so bad because you know how you blow something up bad and then the person's waiting outside. You know when you get the knock?
Oh, dude, the knock's the worst, bro. The knock's the worst. It's like then because it's already enough pressure. The knock is what gives me anxiety. It's like fuck off.
Like fuck no, you gonna wait?
Yeah, because I don't get it. I was at a restaurant the other day and I was in the bathroom and I wasn't dropping the Defining Duece. I got my story of my own real quick, but I was just going to the bathroom and this person just knocks on the door and I thought to myself, I'm like, why in this full restaurant is there a single bathroom with a single toilet? At least two. At least two. Why is there one? Yeah, dude. Mine is iconic in my friend group.
Let's go.
Dude, if I want to talk about like the defining moment in my life, I think I was 19 at the time.
Let's go.
Mind you, this is after the best Mets game in my lifetime. Okay, so it's the one where Wilmer Flores walk off against the Nats when he was supposed to get traded.
Yes, the cries and the tears.
Yeah,
yes.
Iconic Mets game. For those who are Mets fans, this is like a definitive moment in their run to the World Series in 2015.
Yes.
So this girl I'm dating at the time takes me to this game, right? And I'm like, so I get the hot dog, I get the helmet ice cream, I'm piling it on.
City Field, let's go.
Short-term thinking though. So we're walking, great wind, feeling good. We're walking out and you start to you're getting to the car and you start to feel the bubbling. You're like,
the bubble.
That's the worst feeling is because you can't stop because I'm already too far from the stadium.
Yep.
But we're getting to the car. So I get in and my mindset is, as most men begin off, hold it. Hold the line. You're going to be fine. It's an hour and a half. You're good. You're going to make it, right?
Let's go.
Plop in the car, sitting down. Yeah. We're driving. And you get that feeling again, like, dude, this is not going to end well for me. And I'm in the car with my girlfriend and her sister.
Oh no!
Right, so I'm sitting.
And you can't fart because it could turn into a shard. You don't do that. You do the shard. Now you blow up the whole car. They know it's you.
So I'm sitting there like, okay, I'm gonna, I was dating a girl for about 3 months at this time, so I wasn't comfortable. Too new. Yeah, to be like, yo, pull over. So. We're on the highway and, I see I say to him a couple minutes before, I'm like, you know what? I got to just put it out there. I was like, hey guys, got to go to the bathroom. You mind stopping? Yeah, no problem. They're cool with it.
Yeah.
So they're driving and I point out this Dunkin' Donuts. She almost missed it. Thank God that pointed out, right? Because this is important information. Beyond this Dunkin' Donuts, there was not another stop for many miles. It was here or nowhere.
Do or die, baby.
Right, literally. I'm not even kidding. Literally. So, stop at this Dunkin' Donuts. It's a drive-through Dunkin' Donuts, right? Okay. So, first thing, get out of the car. I was like, hey, I'll be right back. Yeah. Walk to the Dunkin' Donuts, pull. Doors locked. Lights are on.
No.
Someone's in there. I'm like, oh, no. So, I knock. I'm like, can I come in and use the bathroom to the person there? They're saying, go through the drive-through. I said, I don't need to order food. I was like, bathroom, right?
Yeah.
Couldn't understand me. So, I'm like, oh, my fuck. So I turn to my left. I'm like, what do I do? I see an outhouse, right? I see a porta potty. And so I stop at the car real quick. I'm like, door's locked. Gonna go to the outhouse. They're like, okay, sounds good. Go to the outhouse, bro. I'm approaching. I see a padlock on there. I'm like,
oh,
yeah. I'm like, who does this? Who locks it up this tight? I'm like, I feel like God's fucking with me at this point, right? Now, as if by magic itself, I look to my right and I thought I was in a dream world. There is a brick wall just there, right? Like we're against the woods.
Yes.
So it's the Dunkin' Donuts, the woods. There's a random brick wall, which, by the way, we passed it earlier this year when I went to a Mets game. Still there.
Really? There. Talk to me.
They were going to build something, I think. They got one brick wall erected. That was it.
Okay.
Girlfriend's parked on one side. Walk over. I'm like, hey, outhouse is not going to go behind the wall.
Wait, you still tell them what you're about to do?
Yeah, I'm reporting in because here's the thing. At this point, I've mentally committed to something that I'm like, I don't want to do this, but I got to do it. And I'm like, I got to keep them off my back here. This is about to be. Yeah,
because they're going to hit you with the status. So what's going on?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. The status checks.
So go behind this wall. I pace a little bit. I'm like, I can do this right now.
What are you going to do about paper, though?
Yeah, I go for it, right? I go for it. And I had to use grass, Cog. I had to use grass.
Bro.
Now, two parts of this story are horrendous. Number one.
What's going on?
Now, Daddy T, he was like, what's the defining moment? This was it. I'll always remember this moment, right?
What's going on?
So as I'm finishing up, pants are coming up. I'm just finished pulling them up.
Yeah.
I see the nose of her car start peeking around the car. Yeah, I'm like, yo, I'm telling you, if I paced for a second longer when I was walking back and forth, if I thought about this a moment longer and she checked up on me, that would have been the most uncomfortable moment of my life. I would have been like a deer in the headlights sitting there just squatting over by a fucking brick wall like, yo, what's up? Where's my girlfriend? Hell yeah.
Wait, hold on. You're leaving out major details, bro.
What? There's okay, let's go.
You got wait. Grass. So there was grass there that this is the Charmin.
Yeah, this is the Charmin. Yeah. I plucked that grass and I was like,
what about the hand sanitization situation?
Bro, okay. I know it's going to sound like I'm fibbing here, but I grabbed a huge clump where it was like no hand was getting in there.
So you got so much grass.
Yeah, bro. I tore it up. When I say tore up, I mean I tore up the grass.
What's the feel though? What's the grass? What's the feel of that?
Not pleasant. It's a little too slick where you're like, I'm not catching enough here, right? Like I'm not catching enough here. But I'm like, I gotta make it work. Here's the worst part.
Not the mud butt.
So yeah, literally. So I'm just sitting there. I'm like, I'm trying my best, but I'm like, I gotta like keep this timely. I'm calculating, right? So she pulls around the corner. I'm like, hey, what's up? She's like, you were taking a little bit. By the way, I was definitely not.
First of all, I gotta come for her.
No. Yeah.
Why is she driving up on the bathroom?
Yeah.
Nah.
With her
she got
sister.
flag on the
with
field
her sister, right?
That is so impatient. That is a flag. That man is doing a sacred duty, and you gonna drive up. Even let's say you was in the house. What was supposed to happen? She's driving. Gonna put the headlights on the outhouse.
Yeah.
Are you
right?
She gonna put the blinkers
I'm sitting there like squatting over like. What's up? What's up?
It was that's a violation.
Yeah, absolutely violation, right? We're not together anymore. So
I see why. She pulling up on bathroom. Are you dead yet? Yeah. Oh my God.
Then I get in the car and I'm worried, right? I'm like, dude, I use the grass. I'm like, we're here for another hour. And what if I stink? Like, I'm just sitting there like, but what am I going to do, man? So I sit there, I tighten my legs. I give no room for breath. Like I don't adjust my seat. Like nothing will seep through. That's my theory here. I'm like, okay, hopefully this works out. I'm sitting there.
There's more.
Now, I don't know if I ended up being a story in the household. They just didn't say anything. I think I got away clean at the end of the night because her sister, of course, decides to lie down in the car. She flattens the passenger seat. So she is head level now with my ass.
Yes.
And I'm just sitting there like.
She's parallel to the yes.
She was there the whole ride. So in my head, I'm like, you smelled something, man. Like you're
good.
You're adjusting. You're at least elevating.
Yeah, you good.
Right.
You good.
That's my thought process. I don't care anymore, right? We're done with that chapter.
Yeah, we're done with that.
But that was the other part. I was sitting there just like, again, tight. Like, don't move a muscle, Matt. Don't move a muscle. Right?
Butt cheeks on clenched.
Yeah, completely clenched. Like I was locked up like Fort Knox, bro. Nothing was happening. So
salute to you. I cannot even think to surpass that story. That is the greatest So I've never heard anything like that. I salute to your bravery. Salute to your ingenuity.
Shout out to the brick wall, man. Seriously.
Shout out to the brick
The
wall.
brick wall, iconic, man. Again, I look at the butterfly effect. If they didn't decide to erect like probably a gas station there and go, you know what, never mind. And what if they wiped out that brick wall is what I think of. I think about this, right? I'm not even trying to be dramatic for the show. I think about this. I'm like, what if that brick wall wasn't there? What if someone decided not to put that building up? That was put there for me. That was there for my moment.
It was for me.
Yeah, that was there for me in my moment. Is how I look at it. Incredible.
Oh, this is great. Great one of the go Defining Duke stories.
Absolutely. Thank you, Daddy T, for writing in.
Yes,
y'all appreciate that. Watch our viewer count just.
I
don't need to hear this.
Listen, man, this is classic.
All I'm gonna say is, I was listening to Sacred Symbols in the car.
Mm-hmm.
I was driving home from my girlfriend's house, and they're talking about God of War on PC. Colin, Chris, Dustin, they're all engaged in conversation. Colin just breaks up and goes, "Hold up, got a fart," and just and Ben boosts it. So you can
yes, I heard it. They put it up on Twitter.
Yeah.
They put it up on Twitter. I was dying.
I was too. I was just like, yo. I was just driving home too. I was like, what the fuck did I just do? Y'all can tolerate that.
Yes.
I think I'm allowed this one legendary tale.
I think we good. This was legendary.
We'll see though. We'll see if I'm getting defensive in advance. All right. On to the news now, what you're really here for.
Woo.
Halo Infinite's campaign's finally been revealed. Let's toss it over to Gary Diaz. Hello, Lord Matthew, and Mr. Coggy Plays. Halo campaign teaser has finally been unleashed upon the world, and Microsoft has certainly delivered the goods, visually with the pilot and environments especially looking good after the particularly upgraded compared to the reveal. I saw our boy Chris, the number one Halo advisor, Raygun, mention on Twitter he still has concerns about the potential Far Cry-ification of the gameplay loop and the lack of biome diversity. Do you share his concerns? Are we being honey-dicked by the new shiny visuals and missing the bigger underlying issues? So let's start there. For those who don't know, surprise, surprise, it's Sunday night at 8 p.m. You and I are both doing our thing, and they're like, we're dropping campaign gameplay at 9 a.m. Be up for it, be there. 6-minute campaign overview. We get to see pretty much the same forest biomes, open world structure, some quests, upgrade trees. We're going to talk about all of that, of course. Mm-hmm. Now, I know you said before the show you had some thoughts on the style of the reveal here. Let's dive into that real quick.
Let's get to it. Okay, so here's my thing, right? First of all, I'm never going to be not excited for a Halo Infinite campaign review, right? So this was a huge surprise on two levels. One, like you said eloquently to set it up, it's Sunday night. I finished ILP. Like Sundays is my decompressed day. I just prepped all for ILP now. ILP's over. I did my promo. Now it's football Sunday.
Yeah.
Where the homies at, right? Mm-hmm. So I'm like, all right, I'll go to the sports bar, watch a couple of the afternoon and the evening games. Mm-hmm. So I'm done. I'm mentally, gaming is not where I'm at right now. I'm just chilling. And Attic hits me. He's like, yeah, Halo. Da-da-da. And I'm like, what?
Yeah.
And I'm like, on a Sunday night. So I'm like, oh, okay. They're going to let us know about a reveal next week. Or, at the anniversary, which me and you were guessing. So I'm like, wait a minute. When is it? Mm-hmm. Monday, 9 a.m. I'm like, what? Like, this is so... I was trying to wrap my head around it. I was just like, it just felt so random. Because here's my thing. I said, there's one of two things here. I said, one, this campaign is not going to look good. And they just, because why? Listen, this is Halo Infinite, y'all. Right? Why? This is your biggest IP. This is the holiday, right? Why do you not take advantage of the news cycle, build the hype, right? Yeah. So I said, I had two trains of thoughts. One, it's trash and they want to hurry up and get it shown, right?
Right.
Or two, and this is going to go with me and you, Matty, me and you've always said, regardless to whatever happens, not that we wishing anything bad, but we both agree that this campaign is coming in hot.
Yeah.
On some levels, right? Yeah. On some levels. No Forge, no this, no that, no co-op. You know what I mean? Now, no ray tracing, right? No launch, which was supposed to be at launch a year ago. It's still not in launch. So there's still little signs to show us that they're trying to get through. Now, how I internalized the opposite side was I was like, okay, what would make them on a Sunday night say, yo, it's coming out and it's coming out tomorrow. And this is, again, I have no inside information, but this is my theory. I'm running with this.
Okay.
My theory is they're behind the 8 ball, 343, on getting this thing ready to rock, right?
Okay.
Saturday night or Sunday rolls around, it feels like, yo, it's ready. Finally. So Microsoft, it's ready. Finally, we supposed to had this joint out.
Yeah.
Put it out.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't make any sense to me. Why not build up the marketing blitz?
They wanted it out ASAP, right?
They wanted it out ASAP. So that's why I said it's one or two things going. So one of them being that, okay, what they say, all right, it's ready. It's like you're like a teacher coming to see your homework. Is it ready? Okay, let me see. Mm-hmm. Oh, this looks good. Mm-hmm. Let's get this out. So anyways, now back to where we at. Look, I liked it. I did like it. Sandbox looked fun. Everything that the multiplayer sandbox that we saw gave me confidence in the single player sandbox. What I did like is I liked the first of all, I do like the banish as an enemy type.
Yeah.
I like the confrontational aspect. I like the little I disagree with Ray Gunn. He doesn't like the way the cutscenes come in the the one-on-one battle kind of thing. I like that. I like that whole epic nature of it. Yes, there seems to be the field-based Far Cry thing that I know a lot of people outposting, a lot of people might not like. Mm-hmm. So now here's the weird thing, and I got to call fraud on myself. I don't usually like open world style games. I have fatigue, right?
Yeah.
But this is new to Halo. And part of me is like, I want to see how that is, taking over the stronghold and stuff like that. But look, my brief impressions was, look, I'm liking it. I felt I see a little bit of the direction where they're going. And like I said, in your video, because I saw you an excellent video, by the way.
Thank you.
Mr. Matty Plays YouTube channel. Please subscribe,
Thank
and subscribe. Y'all.
Wow.
Yes, absolutely great. Because I wanted to hear your thoughts prior. One thing I liked, I know this is a little thing when you see the skill thing where it's like you got all the different versions of the, you know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And to me, this is where they won for me. And I'm biased. They could do no wrong after this.
Oh.
This is the way they could do no wrong for me. I don't care what happens now. One of the hardest things to let go from Halo 5 was that boost.
Yeah.
That boost.
Oh, the thrusters.
And I saw thruster on the bottom. Mm-hmm. I lost it. I was like, yo, it's like they spoke to me. Mm-hmm. They were like, Card, we know you like it. It's not in the multiplayer, but Chief could do it. Then I saw the dash with the invisibility and he had that. I was like, let's go. So I just like the idea of a customizable Master Chief, even though it may not be a robust system, And the last point, I'll give it to you. The last point I'll say is the only thing I am concerned is I don't want it to be an Assassin's Creed situation where you unlock the joint, Master Chief diving off the top. Now, he ain't going to dive off the top. But you know what I mean? The big circle, the Ubisoft
of course.
formula. And I get that. But I guess the reason why I'm not too worried is because I have questions. I'll let you go because I'm rambling. But I'm not too worried only for the fact that it's new to him. It's new to the Chief universe, but they got to execute. I'm dying to hear what you got to say because I know you just played Far Cry.
Yeah.
You just went through that. So your thing is completely different. Like I've been away from open world, so I don't have as much as the fatigue as you, but you just been there. Please talk to me how you feeling about this.
Yeah. After coming off of Far Cry 6 and hammering it, like I'm not about checklist open world games. That said, one thing I said in my Far Cry review for those who listen closely, I said it's really not an issue of there being checklists in open worlds because like Spider-Man PS4 was checklist open world.
Yes.
But it's how you go about it, like how you can play with those systems. So I'm not really worried about Halo because of the sandbox nature of the game that we've seen in the multiplayer that we have seen briefly here in the campaign overview. I'm not really concerned about the checklist open world because going about it will be fun. And some will argue with me, well, Far Cry 6 goes about it in a fun way, but Far Cry 6, you crouch. It's the same thing. You crouch through the grass. You shoot a bunch of broken AI in the head. Everyone one-shot kills. It's boring as shit, let's be honest. Mm-hmm. Whereas with Halo Infinite, we saw the ways that they were grapple shotting into the silos, throwing grenades, the upgrades, the pulling a gravity hammer to yourself, beating up a banish. Like, just there's a level of dynamic, kinetic gameplay on display that makes those completions a little more fun, I think, and separates
agree.
it from the pack. It's the same way again with Spider-Man PS4. It's like you go to the tower, you use your phone to do this Batman Arkham style mini game where you do a synchronization. Your map gets dotted, but guess what? The free flow combat is fucking untouchable in that game. It's so good. The mixture of gadgetry and web slinging, it's incredible. The traversal from point A to point B is really good. So while you're doing the same things that you would in a Ubisoft game, it's how you approach them that makes the difference. It's not really the structure, the template of the content. To me, that's the issue. So I'm not worried, really. I'm not. My biggest worry is biome diversity.
Yes,
I
agree
think
with
that
you.
is the one that I don't mind the checklist open stuff. But when I was going through Combat Evolved, man, snow levels, you gotta have them. You gotta have the rainy levels. And they talked about Deadlands, war-torn lands. There was a clip that Chris Raygun shared on his Twitter account. I'm sure a lot of people have already seen it who listen to our show, but it was from a number of months ago. And they were talking about how the forest region is the main biome, and then they have sub-biomes in caves. And again, they mentioned the Deadlands, war-torn lands, all this stuff, where it doesn't sound like we're going to get that desert mission. You know, it doesn't sound like we're going to get that because they're not stretching us across a couple of self-contained missions. They're doing one big open area. That's where I struggle the most because there is a feel. I was bathing in nostalgia last night as I played Combat Evolved. Assault in the Control Room is my favorite Halo mission ever. So there is some bias there. But always I will remember exiting that door from that base where you're quietly meleeing all the grunts. You come out, you see the Wraith shot going across the top like a fucking rainbow. They're shooting these Marines that are based in the corner. You see the Warthog flipped over, and you're like, this is huge and open. I want that moment in Halo Infinite so bad. I cannot put it into words. And so to me, that will be the biggest stinging point is if they do not switch up these biomes enough.
Completely agree. That was the part that you said and that Chris said. It was my concern because I was like, after a while, the jungle-y, whatever, is going to get redundant as far as a scenic backdrop. My only hope is that we do know Halo Infinite is this, they call it the 10-year plan, right? Now, I'm going to bring you into my Destiny world. What my guess is if there's going to be a contained story that we're going to complete, right? But if that biome stuff is added additionally as we go on and it evolves, and that this is the initial one, you see what I'm saying? Yeah. And that's my hope because remember, this is a new way they're doing Halo. It's not the traditional, level this, level that, level this. Like it's this sandbox, this play thing, and we're going to have different little areas in it. But that's where I'm thinking that we'll probably get that. But it is a legit concern because I'm with you. I do want biome diversity. It feels good to, like you said, to get a snow level, to get a desert, to get different things, and so you feel like you're in these different areas and stuff like that. But
it brought them alive. That's the thing. It made it feel like a place.
But I'm with you. You said it well too. Where the reason why I'm not worried about the open world Far Cry, Ubisoft stuff in this is because the manipulation in the sandbox is so creative. You know what I mean? That it really, you could attack things from so many different ways and the grappling hook and all that stuff. And I'm going to be honest, for me, I'm a big boss encounter guy. And I liked when they showed that, what is it, the Spartan killer with the thing and the shit. Like, I like those moments where someone's talking extra strong to Master Chief. Like, yo, you failed. You're not something of the future. She knocked him out. I was like, Like, I like those epic things. You know what I'm saying? So when I saw, and then that part where you saw the baddest come down the elevator and he's talking to weapons, she's like, is that a friend? He's like, no. And then he starts running. Like, I like big boss epic, bombastic confrontations with cinematic flair, which I like. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So I'm in right now. They got to execute still. We got to get it. But what I saw was like, Now, graphically, I'm not going to sit there and say, oh, my God, it's the greatest looking thing I've ever seen. I'm not going to go there. But for it being Halo, with the changes that they needed to execute, they needed to get people excited. I looked at the reactions. We did a live reaction with the Lord. It was mostly positive, bro. Like 80 to 90% of my timeline. I don't know if you saw Benji Sales. They had the metrics, the likes, the dislike ratio.
Yeah, I did that.
Bro, it is well, because I was worried. I'm like, well, I'm biased because I'm a Combat Evolved guy and I like Halo. So I'm in, but I was curious for people who are non-Halo guys or on the fence. And it seems
a lot of people who are on the fence seem to really like the direction they're going in. A lot of people were worried and compared it to Far Cry.
Let's go.
I just want to offer this train of thought here. I did say this in my video, so I apologize if it sounds repetitive for those who watch, but I think it's a really important thing to mention, which is Coalition's helping 343 out a lot with this game. It's now more apparent than ever they are in on this game because play Gears 5 or check out Gears 5. And if you're worried about the way that this game world is structured, I'm not saying it's going to be one-to-one,
right?
But if you're worried about how it's structured, you want a taste test or a look and feel on how content will be handled, look at Gears 5. They took a page out of that playbook like no other. It is identical in so many ways. Just give it one look. It seems like they have more side activities in the map in Halo. That can be handled in a more, I guess, Far Cry-y way. But when it comes to the way content's handled and the hubs and the story, it just seems like they really followed the path laid out by the Coalition, which I think was a smart thing because it was a system that worked, but it needed a little bit more tinkering, which this looks like a more fine-tuned version of that.
And I want to shout out the campaign guys because I know. Listen, I've been on them. I'm not going to sugarcoat. I'm not going to backtrack. I'm still on them. They still got to execute multiplayer. I've always been confident, but this is a big moment for them. You know, they've been beat up. And shout out to Craig in the makeover. Shout out Craig is out here styling.
Looking good.
You know what I'm saying? Got a little mohawk. You know,
man, he's looking good, man.
He's looking good out here. You know, and they've been through a lot. So to see them, you know, execute that and get the reception, I know had to feel good, but I'm still of the mindset that this thing came in hot. I'm not backing down off that, you know what I'm saying? And because again, you don't put out this big a trailer this last minute and rush it out the door. You basically, a lot of the base some people didn't even know Halo was being revealed because they were up Sunday night or whatever, you know what I'm saying? So I still feel like they're coming in hot. But look, we'll see what happens, man. But it's good to see the story and the campaign get some love. That was cool to see.
They kept a lot of details close to their chest, though, which I thought was interesting. They didn't really tell us anything new about the story. We learned about, for example, the Spartan killer, the thing that's like beyond the Forerunners, some interesting things there, but those seemed more like side activities. When it came to the main story, again, it was Cortana's missing. This AI was created to lock her down. You've got her, which we saw in the last trailer.
Yes,
you're here to figure that out. The Banished are here. They've taken over the Zeta Halo ring, and same story.
Still close to Vest. Still close to Vest. They still have to finish this thing out, you know, in that regard. So no, I'm with you. I'm definitely with you on that.
Yeah, and I'm kind of happy about that because I feel so. Here's the thing, right? It could be because of the story being bad. It could be a response to Halo 5's campaign marketing, which was completely misleading.
Yes.
Could be a mixture of those two together. But what I'm hoping for, and it's just a hope, is that they've recognized that nowadays video game marketing spoils everything.
Yeah.
And I mean everything. You can go into a game and not be surprised by it no matter how much you enjoy it. And that sucks. So I'm hoping that they recognize, like, hey, we've got a good story here. We want people to experience that story. And we're going to just... And also, by the way, I want to throw this out before I finish my thought. With the leak that happened with the campaign, maybe they don't want people to connect certain dots.
Yeah, dots. I was thinking about that.
Keep the details close. But I'm just hoping that they're confident in their story and they want to really wow people and actually show like, hey, you can get people excited. Show them off your game without ruining every detail of the story.
I completely agree. Last point I'll say, and I gotta give them credit. We was on that Ultimate about miscommunication and presentation of games. And I thought they did a fantastic job. I spoke to a couple people prior, and I was like, one thing I didn't want to see, I didn't want to see any personalities. I didn't want to see nobody jump on stage.
Yeah,
hey, guys.
I agree.
No, shut up. Just show the game.
Let it speak.
Narrate in the background, right? You can narrate. A little briefly, they had, the Master Chiefs are the greatest adventure yet. That's what I'm talking about. That they got to do better, and this was a step in the right direction on that level because they're too much. I feel personality driven. Like, no disrespect to Staten, no disrespect to Bonnie Ross, anybody.
Absolutely.
We're not here to see you. Show us the game, and they did that. So
Yeah.
kudos on them. Kudos 343 for that.
Yeah, and I hope they keep that up. Like I get worried because Halo Infinite's a platform that they're gonna like start a Halo Infinite show and start like every week
like,
updating stuff.
Guys,
Yeah,
no,
just let the game speak for itself. It's popular. It's gonna do really well no matter what. I think this has only solidified that. One other thing we have to talk about comes from Jordan Carmichael. Hey, Duke boys, I was wondering if you saw Dr. Disrespect's comments about Halo needing a battle royale to be sustainable for streamers. Do you think someone's opinion with this level of influence really matters in the long run? People were on Twitter saying they don't care about what he has to say, but also upset that his words may hinder the newer crowd that has never experienced Halo like us OGs. If anything, the people who love what Halo Infinite has to offer will just spread the word, and gameplay will be out there for many people, regardless if it's streamers who prefer BR experiences. I hope you guys have a my cousin broke my toys kind of day.
That's very specific. Good question, Jordan. Look, I think, as far as Dr. Disrespect stuff, I want them to put a battle royal. I do. I don't want them to miss out on, a craze or a mode that could draw new folks. And let's be real, we know Apex and Fortnite is still out here. The young generation still plays. However, them being free to play really changes things.
Yeah.
And it changes the fact that there's no barrier for entry, so anyone can try. And I think they'll be fine. That's why I'm okay with it coming, and it could come later, and they'll still be okay.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I know that the talk was, it got to be ready for launch. It got to be ready for launch. But I've always had the mindset that if it's not, like, the core experience is more key first.
Mm-hmm.
You've got to nail this thing. This thing can't be garbage, and then you put out a battle royale. Nobody who cares at that point.
Mm-hmm.
Like, game's garbage.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Man, you jump in.
No, absolutely. It took the words right out of my mouth. I think there's some truth to what Dr. Disrespect said. He mentioned like it would be dead in 2 to 3 weeks. No, that's just not going to happen. This game's going to do really well. Again, free to play is going to really carry this game's player account for sure. Game Pass, like it's going to do really, really well. I have no doubts about that. But I think for sustainability, once you get Forge and co-op out, I think Battle Royale is where you got to put your focus on right away.
Yeah. Knock it out. Get stuff out with give me my co-op and my Forge. You know what I'm saying? Once you do that, get a couple maps in, and then what is it, season 2, season 3, or whatever it is.
Yeah.
Then you hit them, and you're like, yo, whatever that mode is, hit them with that. And that's something to me I think they're sitting on as a longevity motivator, a roadmap thing where when you kind of do cool off, and you're like, oh, yo, this is coming out, season 4,
resurgence.
Then you get the hype cycle right back again. So I think they'll be fine.
Yeah. And there's other things that people want them to add. I think there's been talk of Firefight. There's been talk of assassinations, campaign expansions. 343 is a huge studio. So if their game just continues to do well without BR, I don't think they'll add BR as well. But I think that they understand that there's a huge pop that can come with that. And knowing you've got that in your back pocket with a game that's already has massive hype and a player count ready to explode, I think it's a really good feeling for the team. That's like a low pressure situation, because obviously making a good BR is high pressure. But I'm saying knowing you've got a plan on how you're going to tackle resurgence is probably reassuring for them. So I think there's some truth to what Dr. Disrespect said, contrary to what a lot of people are saying. I just don't think it's as soon as he was stating, which is like 2 to 3 weeks. That was kind of out there for me. But otherwise,
I agree. Campaign
is looking really solid. I'm just concerned about the biome diversity, not worried about the Far Cry gameplay. Skill tree, I didn't talk about much personally.
What's your feeling on that?
This is the one part I'm kind of like indifferent to. I don't mind it being there. It's not a bad thing. It's not really a good thing either to me.
Okay.
I just feel like that's almost, it feels more than, rather, I should put it this way. You see a lot of people saying like they've stapled Far Cry gameplay into Halo, where I feel like this skill system is more of like the stapled mechanic from other series that they just kind of put in there.
Okay.
And
got
it reminds me of almost like Crisis in a way, where I don't know if it really needs this. And I wonder if they just put a couple more unique pieces of equipment in and kind of, again, just enhance that sandbox nature in the campaign, if that would have substituted the progression loop. But again, I think it's just a testament to clearly Coalition's involvement, because
Right.
what you're getting Spartan cores in Halo Infinite, and in Gears 5, you would
Gears
get
5.
something that would attach to the Jack robot or whatever it was
Jack
called.
robot, you can upgrade the robot. Yeah, yeah,
It's just gonna be the same thing. Complete a little area here. Oh, Spartan core, same thing. So I understand their loop. I think it's gonna be a solid loop for sure. But so one part I'm not like head over heels for, because I'd rather them go harder with it than just like a couple of tiers and 5 pieces of equipment.
Right. Your whole thing is, if you're going to do it, really do it and really differentiate with skills and stuff like that.
Yeah. And I'm not talking RPG, heavy RPG level stuff. I'm talking more pieces of equipment. Maybe there are more. Maybe that was just the opening area stuff. I don't know. But from what I saw, I was like, yeah, they're kind of going a little soft with it, where it's just kind of existing.
Yeah. So. No, I get you. I got my thrusters, so I'm biased.
Yeah.
I don't care.
Nah, doesn't matter anymore.
I just want to go invisible.
So yeah, those are our thoughts on the campaign. We'll be doing a DDU episode on that next week, so keep an eye out for that one. It'll be a good time. With that, let's move on to number 2. Another week, another set of Xbox projects leaked. Again, this comes from the hands of Dad of Xbox, Jez Corden and Jeff Grubb. A couple of weeks ago, we discussed 2 unknown projects. One is Project Belfry, and the other is Project Shaolin. And now we have some details on both. For starters, Project Shaolin is an action RPG with an anime aesthetic hailing from Brassline Entertainment. Brassline Entertainment is a relatively new studio composed of some industry veterans. This new action RPG will focus on melee combat and support up to 4-player co-op. Jez adds in his article on Windows Central Gaming that the campaign is planned to run for a couple of dozen hours, complete with a rich endgame consisting of seasonal content drops and other updates. You'll be able to obtain loot, weapons, gear, and so on in both procedural endgame dungeons and more tailor-made events. Perhaps the biggest eyebrow raiser is that the renowned hip-hop group Wu-Tang Clan will be heading up this game's soundtrack. Next up is Project Belfry. Details are a little bit lighter on this one. This hails from Jeff Grubb's Grubb Snack Show on Giant Bomb with the following details. It's a side-scrolling action game similar to Dragon's Crown. The art has Princess Mononoke vibes, which is a Miyazaki film. The Belfry, aka Bell Tower, functions as your base where you'd craft items and upgrade gear. I want to jump into Shaolin first, and Cog, I want you to take lead on this once I'm done reading Don Otaku's write-in.
Oh, the Don.
What's going on? The gaming ninja and the RPG wastelander. Of all the many Xbox rumored projects out there, nothing has really caught me off guard like the Wu-Tang Clan action RPG. As a black gamer, it's been a really long time since I've played a AA or AAA game that has actually gone deep into our culture. Games like Deathloop and Miles Morales have a black protagonist, but honestly, they could be replaced by any race and the game would still work as is. It's sad that if you look at last gen, the closest thing I can think of for games that really push our culture is the NBA 2K story modes and Mafia 3. Yeah, shout out to Mafia 3. That one was great.
Big time.
Really
big
great.
Time.
Because of this, I'm excited that Xbox has not only backed a game centered around black culture, but it's also a studio founded by very talented people of color to make games about people of color. What I want to ask Cog mostly, but I'd like your thoughts, Matty, and this is all Cog. One, how do you feel about rumored Wu-Tang Clan game from what info we've heard? And how do you feel about the lack and decline of games set around black culture and people of color in general? Have a macaroni with no cheese kind of day. Thank you for writing it, Don. This was a great writing.
Salute to the Don, man. I know what that is. Listen, man, this is important. This is important. This is so important. Like, people have no idea. Like, Don nailed a lot of things as to why we're so excited. And, there's so many things going on. First, from the fact when we heard about Project Shaolin and when I heard it was a Wu-Tang game, there was a Wu-Tang game way back, like early PS1. Yeah, Shaolin style.
Wow.
And it's a cult classic. And remember how I kind of joked with you? We did the Defining Duke Ultimate on like guilty pleasures and 50 Cent, brother, what you call it, and Follow This Blood to Sin came up because what it is like he's nailing it. What happens is a lot of games that have a black protagonist, you could sometimes substitute any race in it because it doesn't dive into culture. Now I want to push back on him on Miles Morales because a lot of my, because he's half black, half Puerto Rican. There's a lot of Puerto Rican culture.
I was going to say, I've heard really good things about
Miles Morales. Yeah, Miles Morales, I can't do them like that. And as a New Yorker, I appreciate them just in the starting screen on the train with the
Mm-hmm.
Timbs and the Jack.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's a New York
Yeah,
thing. You know what I'm saying?
absolutely.
So
Yeah.
I was feeling that. So I can't put Miles in that bag. But everything else, yes. But to this, so important because again, the culture in hip hop. And I give them credit. I know people give 2K a lot of crap because they got Jake from State Farm. And I
Yeah.
get that,
Yeah.
right? I get that. And they're right. But he's right when it comes to telling the story of coming up in NBA as a person who played basketball and you making these decisions in the urban culture, like it's very accurate for a lot of it. So I
I didn't
give them
know
that.
that.
But yeah. 2K storyline, if you do 2K, like trying to get drafted and create your player mode, it's literally like an RPG with story and all. It's really good. They've always been good in that respect. But anyway, back to Wu-Tang. This is important, man. Wu-Tang's one of the greatest hip hop groups of all time. They've changed the game, the landscape. The question is going to be two things. One, because one thing that Wu-Tang does is they mix hip hop with kung fu movies, Shaolin culture, martial arts. So the question is it going to be Wu Tang members in the game,
Mm.
or is it a situation where it's Wu Tang, like kung fu, like a sifu, right? What if it's like a
Yeah, that's
sifu,
what I was thinking.
and then with the back? Either way, I am cool.
Mm-hmm.
Either way, I'm cool. But people don't realize when Wu Tang's music is going to be associated, and they have an entry, like. I think RZA, shout out to him. He actually produced a couple of movies with he had one of his, I forget the name. King's gonna kill me. King knows it. Something, the man with the iron, something. It was like they're big in kung fu movies and kung fu culture,
Right.
right? Then also I want to shout out, what's my man, the dude that did Kill Bill. Oh man, you know who I'm talking about. The white guy that did. Yeah, you know what I'm talking about, right? So like there's a lot of that. Listen, this got a potential to be great. It's gonna be one of those things where I think this is going to be embraced. And we talked about Microsoft getting their finger on the pulse of the culture.
Yes.
Hip hop games and black culture games, there is a big void.
Mm-hmm.
This is huge. Not saying that Wu-Tang is super popular right now, but this is going to resonate. This is going to get hit hard. And to his second question, he said, how do I feel about the lack and decline of game? Yeah, I think this could settle. I think what game developers need to see and publishers is they need to see the success of it. So if it hits and you make a good one, right?
Yeah.
That's gonna set off a trend. And Wu-Tang is like, if they're behind it, listen, RZA and them dudes, like it's gonna be real. So I'm super pumped. This is for us. It's for the culture. I can't wait. I've been bumping Wu all week at the gym.
I love that. I love that.
Yeah, it's the equivalent, Matty. If your favorite group, is involved with a game on some level.
I get it.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like it's a dream thing, and Wu-Tang is revered in hip hop.
Right.
So salute to them.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I think one of the biggest things that people always try to push back with these types of games, like even Deathloop to some extent, was like I put this in quotes, by the way, like the forced nature of the protagonist and whatnot. Yes. And I think when you're embracing that culture and doing it, I think the best way to put it is like naturally, that's how you win over both the consumer and companies doing it more in a natural way, rather than just stapling them into games and saying like, look, representation. Because it's important, but they need to be authentically represented. They don't need to just be stapled in because like you feel bad for them. That might do more harm than good. So I don't want to speak for you, but I think it's really important.
I'm with you. I'm glad you said that's something that you verbalized well. I think for me, the reason why, like, I love games where I learn about other cultures and it's done right and it's authentic to the culture. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, that's what makes me want to play, because I'm going to go to my people and be like, yo, hey, there's a game about these, whatever, in Ireland. There's a game about Germany, Russia. Like, is this authentic? And my friends, of those backgrounds be like, yo, that's how, this is official. And I love that, because now I'm getting purity. Now I'm getting something that doesn't feel like a stapled on or a copy paste. We're doing it. You know what I'm saying? So I'm with you.
It sounds very original too, which is really good. I mean, it sounds like a good time. It sounds like a vibe. So I'm really, really excited for this one, especially because they say anime aesthetic. Belfry, I've played Dragon's Crown, and I thought it was a solid game overall. It's interesting because this is the type of game we've been kind of advocating for Xbox to do. I can already tell by the side-scrolling action, Princess Mononoke vibes. This is a Japanese developer. No doubt in my mind. I'd be shocked if it weren't. So I think this is a good get for them. We'll see if it pans out that way. But I think, like, conceptually speaking, both of these are smart, diverse picks that build the library in a way we have been talking about for a while on a global level. So I'm liking the details I'm hearing on both of these, but especially with Project Shaolin.
Whew.
That one, I'm really interested in that, especially because 4-player co-op, man. Like, that's the thing.
Yes.
It's funny. It's not even just the representation that's there, right? And the music and the vibe, that like action RPG anime aesthetic. It's like it's 4-player co-op, bro. I was like, this is a COD game. Shaolin. If they got some ninja stuff, like
ninja stuff, some kung fu authenticity.
Yeah.
Then you throw some woo beats in the back. Yeah. It's over. I don't care what's happening. I'm supporting this game to the fullest, so that even if the first one is okay, that the second one can come out. Like, I am so behind what's going on here. And yeah, salute to the Dawn Otaku on that one. People are pumped. When people heard about this, I was listening to Xbox 2 and just talking about, people were pumped. They were throwing up the woo. It's going to be a movement.
Absolutely. Sure. And I hope it does lead to more of these types of authentic experiences, because I think that's really important, because, again, there's the disingenuous way that, honestly, I think a company like Ubisoft just sort of like slaps it on across sexuality, race, gender, all that stuff. The way they do it does, I cannot emphasize enough, more harm than good. You know, plenty of people want to be represented in all their ways, and it's just it's really sad to see how it's devolved, if you will. And I think this looks, at least on paper, like it's being handled in the proper way with the proper people behind it.
Yeah, I agree.
Right on. Well, we will see more on that in the coming years. Until now, we move on to number 3. Last week, we discussed how Xbox Game Pass continues to grow, but after falling short of their internal projections, that we could maybe see bigger investments be made into the service. Entering the service day one is the remastered version of GTA San Andreas on November 11th. Revealed earlier this week was a trailer for the definitive editions of GTA 3, GTA Vice City, and GTA San Andreas, which will all be sold together for $60. While Xbox got San Andreas, Rockstar played both sides of the field and gave PlayStation Now GTA 3 on December 7th. Recently, Take-Two took down and sued modders working on GTA 3/Vice City remakes, and then yanked classic versions of the aforementioned trilogy off storefronts. It appears they are all in on these remastered versions and expect you to be as well. Your boy, Nikki V, has written into us, "Hey, Lord of the DD podcast, Cog, and Lord of the DD titty gobble, Matty." I don't know, man. I don't know how I earn these names, but I do. Boys, what are your thoughts on GTA's remasters? Did the graphics in the trailer meet your expectations? Also, what do you make of the minor uproar in relation to the $60 price tag? I personally don't get it. The 3 games are $15 each on the PS4 store, and that was just for a basic port. If anything, the collection represents more value for money. Have a warm can of Coke kind of day, Nick. I've had that at my grandma's house. Rest in peace to my Nana, but she would always keep them out of the fridge. On the shelf, and they would be these baby cans too. So I'm like, I'd be like reluctantly like cracking it open, like, all right, I'll have this.
Not the warm drink.
Yeah, I know. I
mean, what you think? I think for me, the Game Pass thing, even if it's just the one, it's a big deal. You know, to see Game Pass get a GTA game is a big deal. Art style, I didn't mind too much. You know what I'm saying? I know it's a controversial topic. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
But I didn't mind. I saw the before and at, because you know what it is? Sometimes we got those rose tinted glasses or how these things look in our mind. And I saw some of the hairstyles and how it was looking. It was looking spooky. You know what I'm saying? Back in the day. So look, I'm with it. I'm glad that Microsoft is at least in the mix here. And I think it's a big deal. But what about you, a perceived value, and about art style? I'm curious about you with art style.
Yeah, I thought it looked really good, actually. I way better than I thought it was going to be. Granted, they played a very heavy hand to isolate this product and make you pay attention to it. But I think what they're doing looks solid, especially when we're hearing about the updated controls, updated radio. I'm hoping that all the songs are the same.
Yeah, how is that going to play with licensing?
Yeah, I wonder, right? Because that was a thing with Fallout for some time, is they were getting updates on the back end of SteamDB, and people were like, yo, what's going on here? You guys doing a remaster? Like, we're just updating the licenses for tracks that we have in our game. So I'm assuming if they're doing this, that they will be bringing back the original songs. They would have probably mentioned it at this point, but as a side note, I think the bigger topic is the graphics, which I thought looked clean. I thought it looked good. Yeah, there are some character models that look a little off, but it's
Yeah.
not the flat, obviously
Yeah.
polygonal
Yep.
shapes that we see in old PS2 games. I thought they rounded them out a little bit more, made them look a little bit more lifelike and easier on the eyes. I mean, there were parts that they
Yes.
compared just the environments that I thought, okay, this looks really, really good in comparison.
Yeah.
Not even in comparison, but standalone too, because I didn't
Yes.
see the comparisons until after. So when I was watching the trailer, I went, yeah, this looks solid. Then you see it side by side, completely different story there. So I think this is a good get for Game Pass. Is it one I'm going to be rushing out to download day one? No, but I think people are going to underestimate the power of GTA and just how many people will flock to this, especially San Andreas, which was like an iconic GTA game.
Huge GTA. Huge. I think they got the right one.
I agree. I literally think they
me.
did. Yeah.
I think Xbox got the right one out the deal. That's just me.
I agree. And it's interesting to see PlayStation got one, right?
Yeah.
I'm not even sure, but they got one December 7th. I wonder how much Xbox had to pony up like to get a day one.
That's a good question. Yeah, that's a good question. Because December 7th is, when is the Xbox one?
November 11th.
Interesting. I know. And then part of me also thinks that, do you think that like, because it's December 7th, we know what comes out December 8th, that Sony wanted something to be like, you know what I mean? Because to take a little, I mean, not that GTA going to stop. It's an older GTA. If it was a newer GTA, then it's like,
let's be honest, these fanboys on both sides will latch on to anything. So
exactly. So I think part of me feels Sony strategically wants something, because let's be real, they don't have any first party offerings for the rest of the year until, you know what I'm saying? Because right now, let's be honest, that the end of this year for Microsoft is super strong.
Yeah.
Back 4 Blood, Age of Empires, Forza, Halo, boom, 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 boom.
Now you throw GTA in there.
Yeah, they got to do something. So part of me thinks this is Sony trying to do a little something to say, hey, don't forget us, we got this. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, absolutely. What do you feel about $60 for this trilogy together? Just like Nikki V said, $15 each on the PS4 store for the classic ports. Now it's $60 for them remastered, packaged together. Clearly put some effort into it.
Yeah, I'm not flipping off of that. I don't feel this is like so egregious where I'm like, yo, they gouging me, and they put effort. I mean, I saw it's not like it doesn't feel like a lazy port. Like if I see something lazy, I remember that time when Activision they got my Marvel Ultimate Alliance.
Oh, they disrespected it, man. They disrespected it. Always shout out to Total Biscuit's review of the PC version when he found out that I think he said Q was the jump button in that game. They so ruined that, man. Yeah.
That was, I forgot they were really egregious on the pricing too.
Yeah, $50 for each. I think they didn't even do a package.
That's what individual, and I'm like, nah, Activision. So that's why I can't go hard at Rockstar and all that. And all that
man. They fucked that up. So I think living through that and caring about that, how bad it can get. Not that this is something of course, if it's cheaper, that'd be great. But
of course,
I think this is fair. It looks like there was effort put in. And when you update the controls and stuff, we're talking old PS2 games, man. I mean, these things were baked in when they came out. So to undo them and redo certain things, it takes a lot more effort than I think people understand. Again, I'm not overly defending them. I'm not a fan of Take-Two or Rockstar, really. So I'm just saying, I think that I don't think this is a time for uproar. Because I look at it this way, not to get philosophical about it, but if we're uproared and pissed about everything, when are they going to listen to us? It's going to be another time you're pissed at them, right? It's like, let's select the times we're emotionally active about things.
I agree.
GTA San Andreas Day 1, November 11th for Game Pass users. Keep an eye out. Other than that, if you're a PlayStation user, you're going to get GTA 3 December 7th.
No doubt.
All right, let's move on to number 4. It appears companies are beginning to sniff out just how lucrative mascot fighters are, with Nintendo's Smash Bros. DLC announcements being able to make more noise than full-on game reveals. Recently, we saw Nickelodeon All-Stars Brawl successfully capture the internet with its nostalgic reveals combined with a bizarre yet somewhat complex fighting system. Next on the list looks to be Warner Bros., and Jeff Grubb has the details. The game is referred to as Multiversus, and it features characters like Shaggy from Scooby-Doo, Gandalf from Lord of the Rings, Tom and Jerry, and Batman. He has confirmed that the game is real and those details are accurate as of this week. Some reports claim that Mortal Kombat and Injustice developer NetherRealm Studios is working on the game, but Jeff states that's not the case. The game is reportedly on a tight budget and looks cheap, considering a free-to-play approach akin to something like Brawlhalla. To wrap up an already wild headline, Jeff mentions that he has heard rumblings of Space Jam characters as well as an active NBA star making it into this fighter, LeBron James. Neo JD writes in, Dookie Man, what do you guys think about this rumor as reported by Jeff Grubb that Warner Bros. Is making a Smash Bros. Style platform fighter? Characters said to be Shaggy, Gandalf, Tom and Jerry, Batman, and more. First off, who do you mean? I'd go with Bats. And second, is this style of game the new trend? How are you feeling about this one? I'm loving this trend.
I know you're loving it. I saw Scooby-Doo. I was like, I already know he all over this.
Trend.
I know he all over this. This is so you.
Dude.
I mean, I'm curious. I ain't gonna lie. I'm curious. I gotta see how the engine look. You know what I'm saying? I gotta see what's going on there. But look, I do feel that it's lightning in a bottle that you'll miss out on, especially with the success of Smash.
Mm-hmm.
Smash proved that, like, when you see all these iconic, characters and IPs all in one game, it's this, mixed mash. It's pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
It's pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, look, I'm not going to sit there and say I'm the biggest fans of these games, but I do understand what it means. And yeah, especially like, the IPs involved. So for me, I got to see what DC properties are in there. Maybe it's a couple of Mortal Kombat fighters or something. WB, then they may have me. All right,
bro,
they got this
I'm telling you, I never thought of it, but the pool of characters that they can snatch from here, pretty good. Pretty good, right?
And the last point I'll say is one thing Mortal Kombat does extremely well, like, I remember when they had, what is it? Not that long was it the Terminator and the RoboCop joint? I mean, like WB could pull from the movie bag.
Mm-hmm.
That's the thing. They got iconic moves, so you get these dream matchups, and that was like, I was like, yo, that's kind of a dream matchup from my '80s babies.
Dude,
Terminator and Robo was a thing.
All I'm saying is Warner Bros. Owns Adult Swim, and we could see Peter Griffin show up,
bro. Bro, this is why the WB acquisition Microsoft is so important.
Yeah, man, I'm looking at Cartoon Network. They could just make a game based off. They actually did try to make a game based off Cartoon Network. I've played it. It's very bad. But like, you got Kids Next Door, Kurt's Cowardly Dog, Dexter's Laboratory, Ben 10, Powerpuff Girls, I guess, Samurai Jack. I mean, bro, there's some good ones just lying about. Transformers Animated.
Oh, wait, they got Transformers? WB Transformers? Oh, it's over for me.
Yeah.
It's over.
Yeah.
It's over.
According to Wikipedia, Warner Bros. Franchises, they have Mike Tyson Mysteries. So
wow.
Imagine you get Mike Tyson in this game, bro.
Mike Tyson in the game.
Yo. Just beating the life out of Shaggy.
Yo, that's a lot, bro. A lot of potential. The possibilities are endless, man.
Only thing that bothers me here, Cog.
What's up?
I'm so tired of these clear, successful platform fighters going light on the budget. I don't get it. Why are they making them cheap, man? Like Nickelodeon, it's like, okay, I kind of get this. Nickelodeon's not as relevant as they once were when they were like in the day and age of, SpongeBob, Jimmy Neutron, Fairly Odd Parents, so on and so forth. Like, yeah, they're getting back into it. And I think this is a good first step for them. But like Warner Bros., you guys are in on games. Like, you guys can make a good one and sell it for $60. Like, why this cheap free-to-play route?
Yeah. That's a good point. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what that's about. Mimicking the model, but I don't know why. Why just go all out with the? I don't know. Maybe they just looking at this free to play model and then the monetization aspect possibly after the fact.
Yeah, but there's just clearly power in getting all these IP together. So I'm hoping Xbox does something.
Yeah, please. There's some time. There's a certain publisher that kind of fits all your needs.
Indeed.
Drop the bag.
Indeed. We'll talk about Xbox doing a platform fighter later in the patron questions. Let's move on to number 5 for now. Here we go again. Adding on to another leak from weeks ago, we discussed a Xbox cloud-based MMO coming from Finnish studio Mainframe. And again, Jez and Jeff have combined for this scoop. The game is going to be, the game is going by the working title of PAX Day, and it aims to take full advantage of the cloud day one. Jeff describes it as, quote, players can access the same game through any device. The studio is also exploring potential gameplay mechanics that can work in a game that exists primarily on a remote server, end quote. The idea is that mechanics for the game will scale in complexity. If you're on your work at phone, you could do some crafting or quick farming. Thus, when you get to your PC, you can focus on something more complex like raids. However, the most notable thing about this cloud-based MMO is not even about the game itself, but the bridge it aims to form between Xbox and Hideo Kojima. Key Xbox figures are hopeful it will highlight the hurdles of cloud-based development so other studios can follow a certain playbook, and they can bring this info to Kojima, whose deal with Xbox is still pending.
Yeah, I love this. I love this.
I like that they're
pumped.
galaxy brain in this one, man. They're pulling out all the stops to get him in.
Yep, I love it. And here's the thing. Obviously, I'm a Destiny fan. I'm not a huge other MMO guy. So, but I will mess with this game. And the reason why I will mess with it is because I want to see from a technical standpoint how they execute, how things are pulled off. Because look, this is one thing as a Destiny fan, when you in these type of games, these live service, live-in type games, right? They steal your soul, right?
Yeah.
One of the things about these games that you wish is that you can continue your adventure or the menial stuff outside of it. So if I'm like on my phone and I'm like, yo, I could still farm, I could still craft, I could still do things that that would take so much time while I'm in the universe. You know what I'm saying? Like, and it's an extension and it's scaled. Like, to me, this is power of the cloud stuff that I was envisioning way back when they first started talking cloud, right? So that part of it is super exciting. And then to hear the Kojima aspect, because again, like we did know, like he initially, from my understanding, had something in place with Google Stadia. And for whatever reason, the deal fell through, what have you. But we talked about Death Stranding. We talked about the Connective Strand game, this lived-in universe. He's got ideas. So what this seems to me is building a template so that other devs who are interested in cloud gaming and in incorporating this tech into their game have like a playbook. Now you start to really get robust, more idea. I think this is future stuff. Like you said, galaxy brain stuff. Like, I love it. So I'm going to support it just to see what the possibilities are, right? And hey, we know one thing. Microsoft has the backbone. When it comes to Azure servers, infrastructure.
PlayStation was using Azure.
Yeah, like, bro, if PlayStation is doing a deal with Azure, that should let you know that Microsoft is well equipped, you know what I mean, from a global standpoint in doing this stuff. So, yeah, man, I'm excited. This is really cool stuff. The geek in me is just, I was doing backflips. I was like, yes.
I love really the if you will, strands tied between all of this, because this is some real forward thinking. I think if it all plays out the way we're thinking it will, they're in one of these special times where you kind of dream a thing up on how it should work out. Something like this. It's like, okay, you work with this smaller studio. I shouldn't say smaller. They got an $8 million investment, but a not well-known studio. And you're using their work to create something that an audience I think would be interested in. I'll talk about that in a sec, but you're also using it to present it to a legendary developer who will absolutely lift up your platform. Like, that's very smart. I love the idea of an MMO kind of removing some of the busy work. So when you sign on, it's go time. Or with these dailies, like, I don't know, my co-host, shout out to Kopi, Paul Lombardo, co-host of Ham Radio Live. He's a big Genshin Impact guy. And he's like, yeah, I sign in for an hour, play each day to get my dailies done. It's like, what if you could just, in the case of Genshin, you can do it from your phone, but what if it was literally like propping it open, you send them out on a couple of missions. I read like WoW does that to some extent. You can send like your factions out on missions or something like that to complete your dailies. But doing stuff like that, because one of my favorite things with MMOs, particularly RuneScape, is I loved like the non-combat skills it had: woodcutting, fishing, fire making. I just loved doing them, because there were times I just wanted to do combat. There's times you want to just zen out, maybe watch a show, and I would flip it on and I'd like grind my woodcutting, and I just like chill at I think Draenor Village. Shout out to Draenor Village. And so I would just hang out there and cut logs for a couple hours, and being able to maybe do that on the phone or order my character to do that while I'm doing this show, even being able to remove some of the busy work from the game and making it fun and interactive and kind of an extension of things would be awesome. So I'm excited to see how they handle this. This sounds like it's got some potential infrastructure wise, but I'm more excited, of course, about how they're going to utilize this tech to show other developers beyond even Hideo Kojima, because maybe Kojima's game sucks, right? And then it's like, hey, well, now we got these other devs here who get cloud gaming, but they're going all in on Kojima. They hired Kim Swift to get her
huge.
she's heading up the cloud gaming division. So very,
Mm-hmm.
very big move. I mean, they made a public announcement about that one. A lot of people forget, like that was a big commitment.
That was a big deal. Yeah, absolutely. And then, like I said, if they get this structure, the template, he's excited. Hey, who's to say? You listen. I think you got to court Kojima at all costs. You have to make sure that man is comfortable. He's happy because ideally,
Long-term ramifications, man.
There you go. There you go. Ideally, you want to lock him in. He does a lot. And I'm not gonna say I'm not the biggest Kojima guy, but his influence is unparalleled. And then I'm thinking about from a studio standpoint, what he could do. Mm-hmm. I'm thinking about getting more people to say, hey, it's okay to come over to Xbox and make it. Like this thing could really blow. So you gotta court, man. You gotta let's
get to work.
Roll out the red carpet. You gotta work.
Mm-hmm.
Let's go.
Absolutely. Number 6, speaking to kind of funny, head of Xbox Game Studios, Matt Booty, who rarely shows up, took an interview opportunity and had a moment of transparency when discussing the status of Xbox first-party titles. Quote, hats off to Sony, their studio system, and the leaders that they've got there. It's fantastic. You can't argue with the quality and the craft and the games that they delivered and that they're working on now. Kudos and hats off to them. I think there's a certain kind of game that generates an anticipation. It becomes a tentpole moment. It's a game that fits the intersection of everybody can play, and it's a big world you can inhabit. I think those kinds of games are important. And certainly, it's been a place where we have not been out in front. We really haven't had this sort of one-to-one with Sony. I don't really want to get into what's our Uncharted, what's our Horizon Zero Dawn, what's our this, what's our that. I don't think that does anybody any good. What are those games that have universal themes, that have a big world that people want to get lost in, that have really well-realized characters and really high production values? That is absolutely what we want to go after, end quote. Like what I'm hearing on that one. Now, what I find interesting is what we've heard about, for example, Hellblade 2. Sounds like they're going for that, right? But I don't know. Is Hellblade, for example, a series that would be that tentpole moment for a broader audience is what I'm wondering. It seems like they're taking that template approach with something like Hellblade, but will that series fit that mold? And I think the one that stands maybe the best chance on paper, maybe like Compulsion Games, like it's a new IP, right? Third person, over the shoulder, dark fantasy, narrative based.
Yeah, no. I mean, I think Hellblade is. I really do. I think Hellblade. It literally checks every box. The only reason why it doesn't check the hashtag just one box is because it technically existed already, and then it's not a new IP. But I don't want to, because a lot of the Xbox community comes at me, they always yell, "Throw Hellblade in my face." Hellblade is going to be fine. I think that it's going to do what it does. Right. You have to understand too that it's one of these situations where we're going to get into it as a future question, but I'm going to kind of set it up now that one of the readers, one of the guys wrote in for, is that the reason why hashtag just one is another reason why it's so important is because, let's be honest, Microsoft hasn't had the new protagonists for the future the way Sony has. They got Jin Sakai with Ghost of Tsushima. You know what I'm saying? You got Alloy with Horizon Zero Dawn.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? You see where I'm going with it? Outside of Master Chief and not Marcus Phoenix / Kate now, right?
Yeah.
There's no, I think in the mailbag that they asked me to ask Cog, people are like, yo, I'm just getting into the Xbox ecosystem because of you guys, right? Because of Defining Dueces. Which game should I get? Because I didn't, you know what I hate is consistent? I skipped out on the Xbox One generation.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And then when you go back outside of Ori, there was, a couple here and there, but they didn't have those new of the future. So that's why this is important. But back on point with Booty and this whole stuff. I love this stuff. This is great. I love the fact he did not shy away that, yes, we do need those characters that you love, those worlds you want to live in, those massive, and they got respect from. They're not going to do a carbon copy of what Sony's doing, but they do recognize the importance. And that's all I wanted. Recognize the importance. The other thing he said that wasn't here that I was really excited about was that he talked about when you look at, like, for example, Obsidian, right, and Double Fine. He said what he's excited about is, remember, when they acquired Obsidian, they're just trying to get Outer Worlds out the door with Private Division, right?
Yeah.
So Microsoft's helping them get that out the door. Then Double Fine, Tim Schafer trying to get, the Kickstarter, Psychonauts 2 out the door. Boom. What he's excited is about what I'm excited about, which is like the next Obsidian game, right?
Yeah.
Most likely Avowed, right? The next Tim Schafer, what is he going to do with those resources officially now with the Microsoft banner? Those are the ones that excites Mad Booty. And I was impressed that he said it. I'm like, okay, we're in the same bag. But yeah, they're going to be fine. I think this is great. I love everything he said. He doesn't come out often, but and he's actually a coder, which was kind of impressive. He actually coded. I didn't know that. Like, they asked me like what he does on his spare time and stuff. Shout out to Snowbike Mike and them guys. And they were like, yeah, he's like, I code games all the time. I'm like, wow, you still coding games, bro? Yeah. And he's an OG. He comes from the Midway era. I remember all those Midway games.
Oh, dude, they were fire.
Smash TV, the Blitzes, the Mortal Kombat back then. He used to work with Ed Boon and all that.
Right.
Get on the phone to WB. Get on the phone to WB.
There's a connection right there.
Bro, I'm starting to see the strands with Matt Booty.
This is what Hideo meant when he said strand game. This is what he meant.
Yeah. But yeah, that Booty, it was really good, refreshing to hear, man. I loved what he was talking about.
Absolutely. Took the words out of my mouth here, man. I completely agree. I think it was refreshing to hear because when Phil comes out and says something along the lines of, oh, we don't want to be the green version of the blue console, it's like, yeah, we get that, but there's a reason why the blue console is leading, and it's because of the games that they're making that are really good. Now, you can take those games and put your own spins on them. People want those games. Not only those games, by the way, because one of my favorite things about Xbox now, and I hope they don't lose track of it in this chase, is the, as you are showing there, the diversity, the amount of things. Like we just talked about Age of Empires. Right. I know Psychonauts isn't first party in the sense of like exclusivity, but that's another one, day one Game Pass. Forza, Halo. Like, I love what they're doing here, man. And I know they can address some of that diversity with third party, but that's not always going to be consistent. It's not the thing you can put in the bank, right?
Yes.
So that's what I'm hoping they don't lose focus of. But yeah, if you start to take, I think something like Hellblade can be reasonably mended into the just one mentality. I think Compulsion, again, people are sleeping on them. I think that they fit the mold perfectly for that.
Yes.
But like, for example, Obsidian. I like what we've heard from Jez. The idea is, he said it may not be full open world. He doesn't know yet, but it's like, it's possible it may not be full open world. It may be hub-based. It's like, okay. I like that they're going to do that. But like, I hope that they can take this step in front of Sony by saying, we're going to do that and this, right?
Yeah. See,
we can match your tentpole games, but we're also offering you Age of Empires, this RTS.
Thank you for saying that, because this is where I want to strangle the Xbox community sometimes. It's not mutually exclusive. You can do both. You can do this diverse thing and have that's the main mission, right? And you could still have one of those things and still have all that. You just said it beautifully. That's what excites me.
The thing is, PlayStation will have to catch up in that regard. If they're in a current role right now, when you look at their upcoming releases and stuff, it's all these third-person open world games. It's like, all right, you got the diversity handled. It's on lock right now.
Bro,
get your just ones in there, and it's a whole different story.
It's a whole thing. And last point, I got to plug ILP on one point. We just had Chris Grinnell, who came from legendary Sony dev, came from Sony Studios Liverpool, the original Psygnosis teams. You know what I mean? He worked at Guerrilla Games. He's been through Sony for over 15 years of his life, and he literally said, like, again, there's this concept of they nurture and stuff like that, but he was talking about the PS3 days and PS2 days, and how there was a Sony that definitely was very adventurous, and you had games like Wipeout, you had all these cool games, and then what happens is they start chasing the trends and the bags and Then all of a sudden, those games go to the side, and other studios get brought in to work on these type of games. And he talks about it was I highly advise anybody to catch that first part of that ILP, that Sunday we had with Chris Cornell, because he really gave a mindset of what goes on in studio culture and how they were like culling devs, and it was bad at one point. It was real spooky.
Yeah.
So yeah, I advise people to check that out. It's really, really good stuff, man. And it goes to the point of sometimes you got to be careful now, because where they are right now, not to make this a PlayStation discussion all the way, but you have to be careful when you chase the blockbuster only bag.
Oh yeah,
right.
You can
because some of the things we love
familiar area.
There we go. And now you see what Xbox is doing with this diverse lineup. So we'll see. We'll see what happens.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
That'll take a number of years to unfold.
Yeah,
so
yeah. Oh, for sure. For
we'll
sure.
see y'all then.
Like so. Yeah. We're going to be a while. Sony's still out here. I'm not trying to be disrespectful. There we go.
Last bit of news. We'll get into our Game Pass pick of the week. It's just a little shout out here to Doom Eternal, which got its biggest update yet. Free update across all consoles and PC. Update 6.66, aptly named. It introduces a horde mode, 2 new master levels called Mars Core.
Wait. I gotta stop you. What mode, sir?
Did I say whores?
Horde. No, you said it right. I forgot to tell you how much of a Horde fanboy I am.
The way you said it, you were like, you mispronounced that. I was like,
I didn't act like I was correcting you.
Horde mode? I was like,
I am when I saw this new, I said they got a Horde. Congo had to download this again.
Yeah.
Let's go. Continue.
Yeah, Horde mode. 2 new master levels, Mars Core and World Spear. I think World Spear, they said you need the second part of the DLC for, so keep that in mind.
Okay.
Battle mode 2.0.
Okay.
Dread Knight is playable. And then a new battle mode arena called Stronghold. And the battle mode 2.0 introduces like streak thing, and it seems to just track your streaks in between matches, long story short. But yeah, a lot of new content added to this game. Thought it was cool to see. I'm surprised they're still supporting battle mode, which I didn't think anyone was playing, I got to be honest. Doom Eternal was a top 5 game of the year for me last year. Phenomenal. One of the best FPS campaigns that you can play and enjoy. But my God, man, their multiplayer just missed so badly with me. It was like the one blemish on that product. But shout out to them for supporting it. Horde mode seems like a fun addition. Perfect for people which want to get in, enjoy their slaying.
Horde modes, bro.
And they just hand you out the weapons over time, too. So there's like a progression in it. It looks well thought out. So
we'll check it out.
Just want to shout that one out. Free download. Go ahead, get it on Game Pass. Try out the update. It's on to our Game Pass / back compat pick of the week. This week, we got Dragon Ball FighterZ from yours truly. Of course, I got to choose this one.
Break it down.
This is a new edition. I like to sometimes dig into the depths of the library and give you all a nice surprise suggestion, but I want to shout out what I believe is the greatest Dragon Ball game of all time. Now, I am a lifetime Dragon Ball fan. Shout out to Budokai 2 when I first started, and they had the little board game story mode where you'd hop around the little pegs and get into fights with everyone. Awesome game, man. Love that one. I owed Budokai Tenkaichi 3 with the bonus disc, 100 plus characters in the roster. I mean, one of the biggest rosters we've seen, to Rage and Blast. I mean, so many great Dragon Ball games, but FighterZ is a artistic masterpiece, but also a masterclass in fighting games. Now, if you never played it, treat yourself to some eye candy. It's a good time to do so. All right.
Really?
What I like about this game is you have the auto combos, which if you're new, you can hop in square, or XXX, call it a day. You can fight.
Call it a day.
Yeah, you can fight. But if you take it that layer deeper, like Cog, I know you're a Tekken guy. There's certain games that click with our brains. I'm a Tekken guy, right? Like that's the one. That's the 3D fighter that works for me. I feel like our brains operate on the same wavelength when it comes to fighting games. I'm saying, man, there's some with the button inputs, the feel, the flow of Dragon Ball FighterZ where it works for me. At first, though, there might be some growing pains. I remember raging at this game when it came out, big time, because what happened was game's really fast paced. You're going to get Dragon Rush. Like, people are going to hit you fast. You'll be like, oh, they should have a block button in this game. No, you got to learn. You got to learn. That's the one thing. You got to learn, but once you learn, it is such a deep technical fighter. Every character could have their own game where you play around them, and it would work just fine, and there's dozens of them. and they pay such great homage. The animation quality, the art will blow your fucking mind if you're a Dragon Ball fan. But even if you're not, it can just be appreciated for what it is. I cannot emphasize enough, download it. It's a small download, by the way. It's an Arc Systems game, so I'm talking like 5 gigs tops, I think. Like it is a small download.
So better than Jump Force.
Oh my God, dude. Oh, Jump Force.
I wanted to trigger you. I wanted to see the disgust.
Pain. Actual pain, man. That game. That game sends me into depression. It really does. Like, I just remember it came out. I bought it. I played it anyway. I was like, certainly it's not that. It's that bad. It's so bad.
Dragon Ball FighterZ it is. Game Pass, let's go.
Yeah, go ahead, give it a download. The cool story mode too. I want to shout that out. A lot of people dogged on it, but I thought it was interesting because it plays with Android 21, which is kind of this unknown character in the Dragon Ball universe, and her turn from innocent scientist to evil villain. I thought was kind of neat, and her ability to clone the fighters that you face, where it makes sense why you're battling against everyone. It's just an enjoyable romp. It's not going to be like a great story, but as a Dragon Ball fan, I appreciated it. So if you've been sleeping on the story mode, give it a shot. Not too long either. But yeah, that's my Game Pass pick of the week. Love Dragon Ball FighterZ. Put easily like 150 hours into it when it came out. I loved it. Top game of the year for me. And so give it a try if you got the time.
No doubt. Check it out.
All right, 5 questions to end the show. Let's start off with Anthony C. Greetings, Dukes and Lords. With Nickelodeon's mascot fighter and Smash's final DLC fighter bringing the mascot platformer fighter back into the forefront, do you think Xbox has enough memorable characters to make their own? I told y'all we got to talk about this. Certainly, there's Chief and Marcus Phoenix, among others, but I can't help but feel that Nintendo and PlayStation have done a much better job of creating memorable IP and franchises, while Xbox has a core few. Though, this will hopefully change in the near future thanks to all the new studios. Does Xbox need more memorable characters to be the faces of a brand, or can Chief hold it down on his own? Thanks, keep up the awesome work, and I hope you have a wireless controller needs charging notification at the start of a play session kind of day. Anthony C. Thank you, Anthony.
Salute. Great question, Anthony. And I kind of alluded earlier. And this is why COG is always #just1. You need more characters. You need people to connect, to have those characters that go like, yo, that's my guy. You know, like I said, they got Nathan Drake over there. Even Mario Link, so what you call it? Why I always blank on Metroid's
Samus.
Character. Samus. Why do I always blank on her name? Anyway, Samus, you know what I'm saying? So again, you got all these names and people that are revered. And like I said, Master Chief, and Marcus Phoenix, and that's it. Let's be real. There's nothing else really going on. That's why you need these characters. So yeah, this is a perfect question. This is why you do those just one, because that's why the new IP version is so important as opposed to a Hellblade. Because again, Senua, we love her, but she technically debuted on a Sony platform.
She did.
You know what I'm saying? She's not yours.
Yeah.
She's yours now, and you can run with her. But you know what I'm saying? But
absolutely,
you want more of those. You know where I'm going with this.
Absolutely.
It's very simple. It's very simple. This is why they need to do that.
Absolutely. I don't think they do. Like, I would love to see them make a fighter, but you could see like when they did Killer Instinct in the DLC, right? They brought Arbiter, they brought in the Battletoads, and those work, but you don't have as many faces there. You know, of course, it sells itself right off the bat. You're like, oh, Chief, Phoenix, Arbiter. It's like, yo, yes. But then suddenly you're making the Gears Halo fighter. You're not really making the Xbox platform fighter. Now, look, you want to dig deep into the history. Again, I'll throw out my man Blinks the Time Sweeper. Put him in there, of course. Someone from Fusion Frenzy, that's a rep right there. I mean,
did you go put the Forza car in there?
I was going to say like Jet Set Radio Future, like I think if you dig deep into that catalog, you could make one. But what sucks is I don't think any of those are faces that you're not going to put that cat from Blinks. You're not going to put him on the cover of the game. You just can't. You just can't. So that's where they're stuck. And you could do what PlayStation All-Stars Battle Royale did, which was, hey, we have enough reps here. But then they got like the Big Daddy from BioShock.
Yeah.
Did you know they did a DLC fighter, Zeus, for that game?
No, I did not.
Yeah. it was hilarious. They did Zeus, which I'm like, yeah, my favorite PlayStation icon, Zeus. And
Zeus.
they also got Isaac Clarke from Dead Space, but you wouldn't you wouldn't know that. You wouldn't know that.
Wouldn't know
You
that.
hate that
Wouldn't
shit,
know.
man.
Yeah. He said I
You hate it now.
I hate it now.
But yeah, I hope that Xbox can shore up those fronts.
Yeah,
But in answer to
sure.
Anthony's question, they do not have enough memorable characters to make one. Although
Correct.
I would hope one day they do. Because again, what the issue? This is what happens when you make these games, these live service games. Like, we're gonna pick the pirate from Sea of Thieves. You're gonna pick the survivor from State of Decay 2.
Yeah,
This is what
good
these
point.
are options. You got to build these characters up. So I'm hoping that they do that.
agree.
Sentinel, I think, will be a good start for all of
Yeah,
that.
for sure. For sure.
But now with them making these RPGs, like, what do you do?
Listen.
Yeah.
Now it's on. It's on now.
But it's like, now, how do you represent that in a fighting game?
And
How do you pick the avowed character you play as? How do you pick the Starfield character?
Because those are also create a character which doesn't have the individuality of a specific story, right? That's why the cinematic story game is important, so that you could connect to one story. Because technically, Starfield, Elder Scrolls, Fallout is your guy.
Mm-hmm.
He's not a, you know what I'm saying?
That
could
you
be anything.
Kind of wiggle it and say, like, oh, let's
put
the Vault Boy in or something.
Vault Boy in. Yeah, he would be fun.
Yeah,
he would be fun.
You know
yeah, Dovahkiin. You know what I'm saying? You could wiggle it, but you know, it differs from, again, you know, Nathan Drake.
Yeah.
Jin Sakai. Aloy. It differs because those are the personalities that we have grown to, you know, get their story, their backstory in the PlayStation ecosystem that they built.
Absolutely. So hopefully one day they do it, but they need IP to do so.
Yeah, they need IP for sure.
Number 2, Simon C writes in, greetings, Dukes. So with the end of the year coming into sign, everyone's favorite topic is arriving, Game of the Year. So before the end of the year rush begins, what games so far are in the running for your Games of the Year? What up and coming games do you expect to hit the list? Hope you have some food stuck in your teeth type of day. Oh my.
Savage. Let's see. Hitman 3. It Takes Two got to get a nomination at least, I feel.
Okay.
It's up there. I hope Psychonauts get a nomination.
Yeah, right. I hope so too.
Just a nomination, or at least get, you know, one of those joint. I don't know. So now again, is this question? This is across the board, all platforms, or
across the board for sure. Yeah, I think I'm of the mindset. A lot of people get bothered when this is said, but I think this is a weak year for games. I don't think it was a good year for games. Honestly, there have been a couple of things here or there, but I
know where you're going. I think they're good games. I don't think there's that definitive, this is in a class by itself.
Yeah, they're
without question.
Really, I think Hitman kind of is that, but there hasn't been that. Like, I look at last year, right? And I know last year was kind of special because, for example, Persona 5 Royals, literally one of my favorite games of all time now. But I get that. But I look at the other games that came out, like Doom Eternal, and there's so many games that I fell in love with last year. Couldn't get enough of. But like this year, it just wasn't there. It wasn't a strong year. I think there was a lot of, if you look at my reviews, like there have been so many wait for a sales. There really hasn't been many like go buy this. And people got bothered with me. They're like, you dislike a lot of stuff. You hate it. Like, I'm just like, come on, man. Like,
it's just levels.
Yeah, this year has not been up to par. I think next year will be very, very, very.
Next year, next year's got a lot of content. No, I agree with you. I think there are a lot of good to very good games this year, but not a lot of great games this year. You see what I'm saying? Yeah. That super high level standard. And the only thing though, it's gonna be one that you ain't gonna like that's gonna be in there. And I know you know which one I'm talking about. That a lot of people that you don't like, that you're in the minority with, is Deathloop. A lot of
you were gonna say Forza for some reason.
Oh, no, Forza. I mean, Forza's that was sadly I kind of hate this, but if you're a sports game, all right, you never win a game of the year. That's just the way it works. They gonna throw you in that other category, and that's it. So sadly, that's what's gonna happen to that. But you know, Deathloop's getting a lot of praise, man. Getting a lot of praise.
I don't know, Cog. That conversation for Deathloop died real fucking quick, in my opinion.
It seems to be. Where were you at with Returnal? I never got your Returnal.
I never played Returnal, actually. Yeah, that
Okay,
I
okay,
kind
okay.
of want
Yeah.
to look into it now. I don't think I'll have
They
the
got a new
time to,
update
but yeah,
now.
that update where you can suspend your
Yeah.
runs. I saw that and went, okay, that's kind of hilarious. It took
Mhm.
them 6 months to do, but
I know it took so long.
honestly, like, good update.
A lot of people like
Yeah.
Returnal. A lot of people like Return. It's gonna. I'm very curious on what wins because I agree with you. I think there are a lot of good
Mhm.
to very good, but not
Yeah, like,
great. Oh my God, this is definitive game of the year candidate.
I look at something like Ratchet and Clank. Like, I thought that was gonna be the slam dunk of the year, and I know for a
Right.
lot of people it was, and I understand why. But for me, that was one of those. This I think the 2016 one was way better,
Yeah.
way
Some
better.
people say they're good, but not
Yeah,
great.
good game,
Yep.
but yeah, just there were a lot of games this year I expected to love that I didn't. And even on the AA space, like I thought Biomutant, it's like, oh, hidden gem right here. Nope,
Mhm.
not really a great game in my opinion. Like just way too saturated for a
Good
small team.
point.
So,
When did
Resident
Mass
Evil
Effect
8, I know
Legendary?
a lot of people liked.
Resident Evil 8.
Yeah, that
Yeah.
one. I don't know. It was like a year where I was like, do I just not like gaming? But I was like, no, I love
No.
gaming. It's just like there's so much stuff that just I was like, it's kind of
And the game I played the most was a remaster. I played Mass Effect Legendary
yeah, that was
Edition the
great.
most.
I fucking
That
love
was the
Legendary
game I
Edition.
played the most, and
Yeah,
I'm
I
like,
grinded that, man.
yeah. So yeah, you're right. It's a weird year for games. I can't wait to see what the nominees are. I do look forward being the Lords. We do an annual. We do a Crown Your Lord section where we pick who we think gonna
Mhm.
win, and then what actually wins. We
Mhm.
tally up all the votes,
Right.
and then Solve kills us this year. Every
Yeah.
game beats us. And he's so good at picking stuff. And he was the one that was yelling at me during them years. He's like, I'm telling you, you guys are idiots. You don't know about Hades.
Yeah.
And he was
Yeah,
right,
Hades.
man. He was right.
Hades is a good one.
Hades cleaned up one year.
Yeah.
I was like, yeah, he won that one for sure.
Yeah, I think out of games remaining, to answer part of Simon's question
Yeah.
of games I expect to
Oh,
hit the
yeah.
list, maybe I think Halo has a good
Of
chance to.
course. But they don't even qualify
Yeah.
because they came out so late.
Yeah, unfortunately too for the game
Yeah.
the game awards, and by
Mhm.
next year when there's just so many like highly anticipated titles, you just look at like what we already know. By the way, up until April with like
Mm.
Elden Ring, Dying Light 2, you
Mm.
got later that year Starfield and Pokemon Legends Arceus. It's like wow. Oh,
Mhm.
I'm sorry, Horizon Forbidden West.
Oh,
It's like,
yeah.
God damn, bro. And
It's
you
gonna
tell
be
me Halo's got to
crazy.
stack up against those? It sucks. It sucks.
Halo's gonna have to take the definitive multiplayer game of the year award.
Hmm.
And we got to even see what happens then, right? But
Right.
that to me would be the only thing that, because it's going to be tough.
Yeah.
It's going to be tough for
No matter how good
this
it
was
is.
the year they needed to come out on time
Mhm.
to make this award, so they would be really in the mix with a lot.
Yeah, but it's unfortunate because I think the voting process starts about now for the Game
Now.
Awards, which
Mhm.
a lot of games are going to get left out. So
Correct.
that sucks.
Correct.
But
Mhm.
I'm happy that Xbox is more concerned with just getting a quality product in rather than participating
Yes.
in the popularity contest. So
Mhm.
on
Agreed.
my Game of the Year list that I also want to shout out was Tales of
Mhm.
Arise. Very, very, very good game. I
Yeah, a lot of
really,
people love
really dug that one. I would say that and Hitman 3 were like the two games I thought were great this year. But were they like
Yeah.
Red Dead Redemption 2? Like, wow, play this shit now? No. But like
Mhm.
I thought those games were excellent.
Yeah.
But other than
I
that,
got to get back to Hitman. I got to get back to it, man.
oh dude.
So many games.
Have you
So
ever
many
finished Hitman
games.
3?
No, I'm like halfway. I did not finish it yet.
Oh, so you
So
did the
good, though.
Dartmoor Mansion, right? That was in England. That was a good one.
Brother, the locales.
Mm.
Listen, I knew the game was hitting from the beginning. You know what I'm
Mm.
saying? Was it the Dubai joint? You out in the roof
Yeah.
and
Dude, I did almost all the
fire.
challenges in that game. Like I put like 45 hours into it. Just in Hitman 3 alone. And by the way, the last mission, it's really bad. There's no playability
Oh,
to it. So
gotcha.
it's really 5 missions that I put 45 hours into. Fuck it. That's nuts to me, bro.
That's
That's
nuts.
nuts.
Yeah, the intricacies and there's so many ways you can approach and do things. So good, so cool.
One of the
Doesn't
deepest
get enough
games that's
credit.
come out, man. It's
I agree.
incredible.
And it's a looker.
Mhm.
It's a looker
I
too.
cannot
for
wait
sure.
for what they do with James Bond. And now we know they're working with Xbox, Project Dragon. Yo,
Yeah,
if Xbox is gonna wrap anyone up. That's
IO
that.
be in a bag. I
IO
always
is
like
so
the
good.
engines. So good. So good.
Let's move on to Alex Gritzmacher. Hello, Dukes. I have a quick story to set up a question. Last April, F1 2019 was an Xbox Games with Gold game, so I downloaded it. Around the same time, I started watching Netflix's Formula One series, Drive to Survive, which follows the teams and drivers during each F1 season. So, with my interest in the sport peaked, I played the game and really got into it. I then bought F1 2020 that summer, which really cemented my interest in the sport to the point that I actually started watching the races and have since become a huge fan. My question is, has any game gotten you interested enough in a sport to then become a fan? Or if not a sport, some other real life thing the game is based on, whether it be a book or a movie series or anything of the like. Keep with the great work, Alex.
Great question.
Mm-hmm.
Again, highly recommend Alex. If you're an F1 guy, highly recommend ILP this past Sunday that went on. Chris Cornell, he pretty much every F1 game that came out from the PS2 to PS3 era, he was a part of. We talked about the intricacies of creation. And yeah, F1 was one of those games for me. Like, in the States, we didn't have F1. We had IndyCar racing. And I remember, casually watching and stuff like that. But the F1 series was something I paid attention to, the simulation, the pit stops. I got into it. I told you the story, with the NHL, like I didn't watch NHL. I didn't know the sport, but I remember those EA, it's in the game, and NHL 94 was, man, that changed my life. Like I got into it. I learned the league.
Mm-hmm.
I started watching like most sports games like that. I think PGA Tour
Oh,
golf.
yeah.
Like I started watching that. I remember when the tennis games and the top spins, and I started I used to do all that stuff and then start to get into the actual sport. Like, yo, Pete Sampras, that's my guy.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, that's how it literally gaming does have that effect where if something is done really well, it can make you really get interest in the actual real life counterpart. But I'm curious for you, like, what are those for you that you sat there, you played, and you're like, yo, I'm gonna take interest in this now?
Hockey. Yeah, hockey. I ended up going out and playing. Like I remember I borrowed from my brother NHL 2012. It was the one with Steven Stamkos on the cover. So I think that was 2012. And I remember playing it and just like a little simpleton. I was in high school. You could hit people, you could fight people. I was like, oh, this is fun. There's some gameplay here, right? And then like you get into the sport of it all eventually. And that's when I really started watching was in 2012. And eventually I was like, oh, I want to play it, but I was up too skinny. I would get pushed off the puck. Then one day I bought like a plastic net and I played like pretty much floor hockey in my front driveway. And eventually I took rollerblading up. I tried that out at a local rink. Then I made the leap to ice, and the rest is history. So, yeah, I've played ice hockey for 6 years now, and I've been a fan since 2011, 2012, I want to say. Actually, if it was a 2012 game, it was probably 2013, I want to say. But anyway, really, really liked hockey and got into it because of the game, because I was able to see the flow of the sport. And then I knew some of the rules, and then that just kind of carried over where I was able to just focus on the team, the players, and you just develop an adoration from there. And for mine, it was so strong, I ended up competing in it because I really liked it. So, tis my pick.
Nice.
All right.
Good question, Alex.
Number 4 goes to AJB. Hey, Dukes, both podcasts have brought up the strange direction Ubisoft is taking and releasing 3 live service games in the future. Sometimes NFL teams feel like they are one piece of the pie away from a Super Bowl and load up on one position in the draft, expecting to hit that one prospect. Is this what's happening at Ubisoft? Are they flooding the zone right now, hoping that one of these lands, as it'll be able to pay for the developing costs of the others? They have to be aware that their audience isn't big enough to sustain 3 live service time games or time syncs at once, right? It's funny because he said time sucks in the script. I didn't even edit that because I was like, yeah, time sucks.
I'm with him. I mean, and that, we talked about our concerns with a Splinter Cell when we heard these rumors, right? Based on what they're doing now, this, concerns you. And it's like, bro, Division and Watchdog, Assassin's Creed, it's just so much live service. And I'm just like, how, if you're a person who plays only in the Ubisoft ecosystem, right? Far Cry, like, how do you pick and choose? How do you, you know what I mean? Like, it's just they've got a problem with diversity and game diversity, and now people are pushing back hard. They're really pushing back with the ratings. Again, I implore you, listen to Jess Corden's rant on Xbox 2 and Ren about cut and paste and so he used words like soulless, and I don't know what's going on over there. Not all of them are doing well, right? So I think it's one of those things where eventually the base is now pushing back, and the numbers gotta flop a bit for dudes to get the answer that you're gonna have to mix it up. You're gonna have to do so. And maybe that's what they get it, because Division, from my understanding, Division 2, which I actually liked initially.
Division 2 is good, yeah.
And I liked Division 2. And I was like, I thought out of the great, I always, I'm a Destiny fan, so I always look at the competition. What's going on? You know what I'm saying? And out of the great wars, everybody was on the Anthem train. And I liked Anthem initially, but I said Division is the one I'm worried about for Destiny and taking Destiny out. See, I mean, potentially, right?
Yeah.
And Division did beat out Anthem, right? But it just died out. And then there's a lot of issues that we'll go into it. Shout out to my boy Shlomo Backslap. He's a big Division guy. But they just didn't do enough with the end game. And then the other thing is they stopped listening to their base. Their base like, yo, fix this, do that, tweak that. And they had this had this attitude like we know best.
Yeah.
And it alienated a lot of their stuff. So you see that died. And I think that's what's going to have to happen. People are just going to push back and say, no, Ubisoft, nope.
Yeah.
And I think we're getting into that zone. And maybe, just maybe, that's why we're getting a Splinter Cell announcement now, because they're finally seeing, this cut and paste, Watch Dogs, Legion, everybody. People tired of it, bro. People tired of it. Even, when you get tired of it, last part.
No, go for it.
When the UIs look the same.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
When you see the UI and the font and it looked the same.
Yeah.
And
very
you're
much
like,
rehashed.
Not doing it. I'm not. And sadly, it got me out of the yes. I know people love Assassin's Creed. It got me out of it. I'm just like, I'm not doing it.
I always say that their biggest mistake when Unity failed was not doubling down on what Unity did as a gameplay structure, because it was legitimately the future of that series.
I'm gonna go back to that.
It's good. It's a good game. I stand by that.
Update, right? Didn't they get the update?
I don't know if they did or not, but I know it works.
Didn't they get like a frame boost or something? I feel like they got something.
I feel like at this point.
Yeah, I feel like they got something. And it was fully 4-player co-op, or was it like
there were missions?
There were missions.
There were a lot of them, and there was a lot of loot and stuff. I mean, granted, it kind of looks like familiar Ubisoft stuff now, but like the calling card I think for that entry was the different ways you could assassinate targets and the objectives within the missions that you can complete. Like there was a lot of optional stuff where it was really good. I think they could have developed that more, but they went in the RPG direction, which I also have enjoyed. But my biggest sticking point for Ubisoft,
let's get it,
is Immortals Phoenix Rising comes out, and I'll always point my finger at the media and other reviewers for this. It comes out to glowing reviews, and I'm like, what the fuck did you guys play? Because this shit is identical to Far Cry. It is identical to Assassin's Creed. And guess what? It's a new goddamn IP. People are like, it's a refreshing take from Ubisoft. Finally, it's something new. I'm like, no, the fuck it isn't. They added puzzles, and that was it. And that's where they lost me. I was like, that you guys had a new IP, and it felt the same. Like, you guys are that scared. And then you play Far Cry 6, and you see how scared they are because they just keep going back to that Far Cry 3 well. They can't help themselves. They're either self-obsessed and they cannot move past their own love for their art, or they're so scared shitless that they don't want to do anything different.
Yeah, I think it's that.
Yeah.
I think it's scary.
And
I think it's scary.
It pisses me off because every open world they've ever made that I've played, I look at and I'm like, oh, this is just beautiful. I love what I'm seeing. Exploring it, different story, but looking at it, like I think of Syndicate, I look at it, I'm like, Industrial Revolution here. My God, beautiful, man. Like there's so many locales they do, and they do them right. It's just what's in them is not good. So I think that's why there's worry for Splinter Cell. What's interesting is there was a rumor that popped up on Twitter saying that like Xbox had like a big third-party exclusive.
Oh, we gonna do it?
I was like, in my head, I'm thinking to myself, I don't think Ubisoft's funding this themselves. I don't.
You know what's? Let's do it. All right. I've heard the validity of the sources that I've heard from are mid-tier. Let's just say that, right? I'm not going to go with my high-tier sources. If one of my high tiers confirmed it, then I'm running. But I did hear rumblings.
Yeah.
If this is the case, it would make sense in the sense that Ubisoft is too scared to do Splinter Cell by themselves. Xbox would make sense. Xbox, whether it be the global game publishing or whatever it is, right? Splinter Cell is a franchise synonymous with Xbox, and I could see them doing it. You know, it would behoove them to make this kind of a deal, and
A lot of
then I would
goodwill
have
on
a
that
little bit
too.
more. Yes, I would have a little bit more confidence. So I'm hoping this rumor is true. I don't want to get crazy because, you know, I'm such a Splinter Cell fanboy. I just don't need my heart broken. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? And I'm trying, you know what I
Yeah,
mean?
yeah.
I'm trying to,
Absolutely.
you know.
Absolutely,
But
man.
hey, if it happened, what a get from Microsoft if that wasn't true. Again, all rumor or speculation. But if Mr. Matty Plays would like to elaborate on what he's
I just heard that. Funny enough, this is from my middle
yes.
source, right?
Use your big
Yeah.
tears. Yeah.
It was the same thing. It was like, yeah, maybe it might be Splinter Cell. I was like, okay, we'll see how that rolls out.
We'll
We'll see
see.
how it rolls
Mhm.
out. But I wouldn't be surprised either at the end of the day. Just
Yeah.
speculation alone. It's because that was the rumor. It's like, oh yeah, they got a big third party IP that like both sides are really happy with. And I was also thinking, shout out to Special Nick of Xbox Era for this. I don't want to take his
Yes.
idea here, but he also mentioned
Mhm.
Bungie's new IP. I just
Ooh,
think
matter.
that getting Bungie and Xbox
Mhm.
together again, that'd be something.
That would be interesting. Matter is that's their new joint.
You would know more about
hmm.
that than I probably. So
Yeah, this is something they've been working on for a while. Again, the relationship between Pete Parsons and Phil Spencer is like this.
mhm.
People don't realize that. And again, shout out to Phil, big Destiny guy. You know what I'm saying? I haven't had a chance to play with him yet, but we've tried to schedule it. But yeah, it would make sense. It would make sense.
You in contact
What?
with Big Daddy Phil Spencer?
You know, we have had conversations here and there.
Get that
You
man on the
know.
phone real quick.
Listen, we build it. Listen, it gonna take
It takes a
time, but we
Destiny
build
session,
it.
right?
It takes a destiny, you know. Just I gotta, you know, the man is a busy
No,
man. You know what I mean?
I'm
I'm
fine
the
with
type
you.
of person I don't like to. I don't care because listen. I ain't know Phil Spencer. I'm not that popular, but I'm just saying I know what it is. Sometimes when you jump online, you just want to play
Of
and
course.
not be bothered. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So I don't like to bother
No,
people.
of
You know what I mean?
course.
But you know, yeah, we've talked and you know, I definitely will set up. He's hardcore Destiny like me, so you know, we'll try to set
Do a little
something up.
Destiny spoiler cast with Phil.
Hey, Phil, if you're down, I'm always down. But yeah, he loves his games, and he one thing about him, that's why I really respect him. The man plays games.
Yeah.
You can't say that. The other person I want to shout out before in the previous regime that I know I used to play Destiny with is Mikey Barra, but now he's over at Activision. These guys play games. Like there's no doubt about it. There's no suit, there's no corporate, there's no fakeness, and that's it. But to your overall question, I would not be surprised, you know, if that did happen, like Nick was saying in reference to Matter, because that's their new IP that they're working on. So it'll be interesting.
Absolutely. So we will
Mhm.
see. But as for
We'll see.
Ubisoft flooding the zone to see if they hit one, I kind of think of it as like if they can effectively get someone to buy the game twice when you purchase it, then they have won. And
Yeah,
so that's why you see Assassin's Creed, Far Cry, like they have microtransactions in them because they can get you buy the game twice. Then they don't need to sell multiple copies. They've just sold it twice to the same person. So,
exactly. Which then keeps them in that safe bag of doing the same thing over and over
yeah.
again. So,
All right, last write-in for the show goes to beloved Emperor, dear Defining Matty and Ultimate Cog. Several hours ago, at the time of writing this question, lead environment artist at InExile Paul Fish tweeted a picture from inside the offices at Obsidian with a cheeky "Why am I here?" as the caption. Josh Sawyer responded to his tweet with some playful songs. So the question is simple. What is going on here? Is InExile partnering with Obsidian, perhaps on Sawyer's project? Important to note, before working at InExile, Fish worked at Obsidian on projects ranging from Alpha Protocol to Fallout New Vegas to South Park Stick of Truth. As always, the content you put out each week is stellar. P.S. Maddie, I hope you have a first day in the Republic of Dave kind of day. Cog, I hope you have I just got the Gyaller horn in vanilla Destiny 1 kind of day.
Woo! Great reference.
Yeah. All right.
Great reference. Let's get it. Let's get it. You want to jump it off?
I don't think this is anything. I'll be honest.
Oh, okay,
Yeah,
okay. Break
I'm
it
getting
down.
in my conservative bag here, right?
Let's go.
We've heard that
Mhm.
Xbox is all about collaboration.
Yes.
So
Yes.
if Paul Fish here has a history
Mhm.
at Obsidian and there's a lot of collaboration happening within the Xbox first party family, I think it makes sense that someone from InExile would show up.
Yes.
Now, of course, I'm hopeful that with these two working together, that we see something from a popular IP pop up. I already know my journal friends are doing the digging, and if they find anything out I will probably be the first to know. But for now, I don't think this is anything. Yeah, I don't think this is
Question. Correct me if I'm wrong. When Obsidian got it done, wasn't Obsidian
and InExile were together? Yeah,
together,
yeah.
Right? Okay. That's what I remember. Okay.
True.
So I think that makes sense. This is where I'm excited. I'm still in the conservative bag with you. I think this may be the relationship, Josh and homie. Josh has that new project from Obsidian going on. He may be leaning on Mr. Fish for certain things. You know what I mean? That may be that, right? And it may be just the extent of it. However, the question I have, and this is the big one, to me, the elephant in the room, the way I look at Obsidian and the way I look at InExile is very different. I look at them as two entities who were once part of the greater Bethesda thing, right? And let's be real, they didn't necessarily get the best credit and maybe their treatment during the raid, whatever, it may not have been the best.
Right.
But my point is this. I look at them as separate entities looking to establish themselves that, we're nice, we're talented, we can make our own, yada, 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 right? But now, Bethesda's in the building, right? So what I look at is I want to know, in the greater scheme, Obsidian, InExile, Bethesda, that's what I want. I want to know if there's Avenger meetings there. I want to know, because the way it seems painted right now, and I think it was Jez, if you said this, I think it pretty much was you. Because Jez is sitting on a lot of stuff. Jez is sitting on so much stuff right now. He being nice.
Yeah,
he being very nice.
He's pacing it out. He's like, I got a little content rollout.
Yeah, he doing like giving us a little content drip here and there. Yeah. Jez, I know what's going on.
A game.
But here's the he played it, and respect for it. He's sitting on it. But the thing is, the key part I got out of it is, Bethesda is not in that room. They're still being almost treated like a separate entity, a separate building, right? And I want to hear about greater collaborative stuff. Yeah. So with all those three. So that's what I'm waiting on. But I'm with you. This is light. I ain't getting crazy. This is just those two had a relationship, bringing them in most likely, and then we'll see what happens. But yeah,
I'll always remember Xbox announces the acquisition of Bethesda. Someone tweets at Obsidian, it says me New Vegas too, and then Obsidian just puts like the shrug and shoulder emoji, and I'm just like, come on, guys, you can't do this.
Yeah, they're not there yet. It's because to me, it's like it's a weird situation. It's like dating, right? Now it's your ex, and now your ex and everybody live in the same house.
Yeah.
That's what it feels. It's still a level of weirdness. I don't care what nobody say. Look, they're gonna play nice and do the public facing joint, right? But you can't tell me, because you know the history better than anybody, Matty, right? Yeah. With Obsidian and them, right?
Yeah, it's not. They in my eyes, no. I think they kind of pretend it's all good, but like all I'm saying is like Bethesda nickel and dimed Obsidian pretty hard for New Vegas. I am of this mindset that Obsidian's kind of surpassed Bethesda in this point, so they don't really care that it's happened, especially because they've probably made far more money just doing their thing. But I know pretty well that if they were handed the Fallout IP, they would take it and run with it. So that, and that's not like breaking news. They've said as much, but I'm just saying that still is absolutely a thing for Obsidian. Like
let me question this now. I got you on the Obsidian side. Where do you feel InExile is with their history with Bethesda?
It's interesting because I'm gonna make sure I'm remembering this correctly. I believe InExile is really they a couple of their employees left and they had given birth to Obsidian, where I don't know if Bethesda and InExile have ever directly collaborated.
Okay.
Where I feel like that's where the relationship would likely occur. Especially if Obsidian started to do 7 games in 7 years, and they seem to have their own internal roadmap. Like we already knew Kerry Patel was directing something, and that's like years down the road. Josh Schleyer is directing something years down the road. And then on top of Avowed, Grounded, Outer Worlds 2, there's so much already being worked on. So I don't know if Obsidian has an empty enough plate to just take something from Bethesda and do something with it, where I think InExile would be the best point from, hey, this is a fresh partnership. Hey, we know you're capable. You just made Wasteland 3, which is what gave birth to Fallout. You got Brian Fargo in the building, who was one of the fathers of Fallout.
Legend.
And you can kind of safely assume that they would do some type of spin-off, if you will, for Fallout. Not a, at least, right now, because we know they're working on that project that is going to be first-person shooting RPG, which would fit that Fallout mold. But currently we know InExile as the isometric guys, right?
Yes.
So they could kind of do a tactic-style Fallout game spin-off, and that would be, I think, received, because it wouldn't take away from what Bethesda's doing, but it'd be another Fallout alternative. But maybe that narrative changes when they come out with their own FPS RPG. Let's say it's really good. Now you've got two options in the building on people who can do FPS RPGs in a Fallout style, and you've got Bethesda over there just sitting on it. I just
interesting.
Yeah, it's something that I continue to dig on, but no one wants to speak. So
no one
wants even to indicate like, we're talking. So it's tough, man. But I think the tight lips that would sink ships is telling of itself that at some point, Fallout aside, by the way, I'm not even trying to go on a whole spiel. At some point, these three or two of them of the three will collaborate in some way, shape, or form.
Yeah, I think
big or
so.
small. I think it will happen.
Yeah, we're in the same house now. Everyone's moved on. We're mature now. In a different place.
Yeah. So time will tell on that. But that's all we've got for this week's show. Thank you for the fantastic write-ins. We hope you enjoyed our whole news roundup. Certainly a lot, as always, to discuss in these busy holiday times. Cog, anything you want to say before we wrap it up with the hashtag?
Oh man, what a show! What a show! A lot of great topics, a lot of diverse topics. I don't know, man. There's so many. I don't even want to plug. It's so much fun. I mean, so many to plug for. I was thinking diverse DD, but I want to
Deuce DD. I mean, that was the
Deuce DD that was a topic in itself.
That was the episode headliner.
That was the episode headline, low key. Yeah, we might have to do that.
Little Deuce DD. I like that.
Deuce DD. Yeah, Deuce DD. I like it.
Hashtag in the comments on Twitter at G27status at Lord Cognito. Hashtag Deuce DD. Let us know you got this deep into the episode. Certainly looking forward to everyone who sat through that. That would be very telling. So we appreciate you all. And with that, we'll see you next week for episode 44 of Defining Duke. Until then, take all right care of yourselves, and we'll see you shortly. Peace out.
Peace.
Defining Duke, an Xbox podcast, is a product and trademark of Last Stand Media and Collins Last Stand LLC, and is recorded from the United States of America. The show is conceived by Matthew Mr. Matty Plays Schroeder and me, Colin Moriarty, and is written and produced by Matthew Schroeder. Matty's co-host is Barry Lord Cognito Eversley. Defining Duke's executive producer is Dustin Furman, and the show is edited by associate producer Ben Smith. All of Last Stand's theme music is by Ramon Narvaez. As you know, all of Last Stand Media's shows, including Defining Duke, are fan-funded on Patreon at patreon.com/laststandmedia. The following names are at the producer support level on Patreon, and we're thankful for your kindness and generosity.